It begins. You're talking to a liberal. A cringe. Liberal. The show is today. This is going to be good. I'm excited. Excited to see where we go today. It's going to be fun. All right. All right. So get this, right? Bobro says, yay. How you doing, Bobro? Did you see the new video? Did you see it? Brand new video. Brand spanking new. I spent so much time editing that. And it's not bad. It's pretty good. You got to check it out. If after the stream, of course. But yeah, it's regarding the SCOTUS decision. Yeah. Anyway, what? Sorry, I took a nap. I was like, as soon as I got off work, I was like, oh, time to take a nap. And I shouldn't have taken a nap. Maybe I should have. It should have been maybe longer, or I don't know. I'll be all right. Don't worry. Show starts at 6:30. For now, I'm going to just play a little bit of Diablo 2. Phones are open. If you want to call in, you can do so. But no. Bobro says, yes, you did see it. Okay, good. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you like the video? I hope you did. Let's see here. Okay, I think we got to go to the blood plains. Let's do it. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 ba, 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 ba. Morning Star. Immune to fire. I think in hell difficulty now I got to deal with a lot of immunes. The answer to dealing with immunes is going to be Talash. Talash is the answer to all of my problems. Look at him running around. He is the answer to all of my problems. Can I not kill something? No problem. Talash can kill something. See? Look at him. He's doing it right now. He's killing something. Midnight Shadow says, the whole video was you crashing out. That's what you got out of that? Is that really what you got out of that? Are you sure you're an honest interlocutor? Are you sure you're honest with yourself? I have a feeling you might have a little bit of bias there. Just maybe. Just maybe. But phones are open. You know, if you disagree with me, you can just call in and I will answer the phone. And yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was reacting to the SCOTUS decision. I'm really upset at the SCOTUS decision. I think we're going to, 20 years into the future, we're going to be looking at this in a very negative light. We're not going to see this in a positive way. But let's save that for the show. For now, we're just playing a little bit of Diablo before we get started. Let me take a look here. Let me see here. We're going to get... What was I going to... Oh, yeah. Act 1 map. And that's a Diablo 2 Resurrected. All right. Let's take a look here. Thank you. This I need. I need this in my life. Okay. So we just got to make it to... Let me take a look. It says Burial grounds. So that means we need to go to the cold plains and then burial grounds. We're in the cold plains. So now we just got to run around till we get to the burial grounds. Yay! Running around till we get to the burial grounds. Let's go! Honestly, I don't know what it is about Diablo. I don't know what it is. I just been having. Yes, I'm on hell difficulty now. We have completed second. We did that yesterday, and so we are ready to go for the next level of difficulty and hopefully better equipment, better stuff. Isn't that exciting? I'm so excited. All right, there we go. My only concern is Duriel. Duriel is my only concern. I'm not really worried about anything else, but Duriel, that's a concern. I can't handle Duriel. I cannot. There is nothing I can. Oh, can you heal, please? Thank you. Don't kill Talash. You're not allowed to kill Talash. No killing Talash. You leave Talash alone. Okay? You almost killed my man. He's my boy. Do you not see him? Do you not see him doing the work of gods? Oh, that guy's immune to lightning and immune to fire. All right. So we're just gonna wait for Talash to do his job. This is why we have Talash for these things. Let me see. Boop, 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 boop. Is he? Come on, Talash, get over here. Just whap on him. Whap on him, Talash. Talash. Whap on him. I can't do anything. Talash, I beseech you. I have no mana. I have no. Okay, fine. We'll leave. It's fine. Exalt says, "Is the photo real?" What photo? What do you? Do you mean my thumbnail, or what are you talking about? Let's take a look here. Okay, so we got Morning Star of Pestilence. We got Cobalt Mail Ring Ease. We got you know what photo, you dog. Oh yeah, the dog dildo. Yeah, I have a dog shaped dildo, and it was given to me by my friend, who is my friend in VR, and he sent me, along with a headset, a dog-shaped dildo. And I looked at him and I was like, "What am I gonna do with this? What are you doing? What are you doing?" You know? And then, it was wild because this guy, right? They were telling me, I was like, I can't do anything with this. This thing is this thing is huge. It's giant, right? And so here's what was wild about this, right? I did this, right? I was telling this story, on Discord, about this dog dildo, and then people had asked me, says, "Can we see it?" So I was like, "All right, I'll show you the dog dildo," and I showed him the dog dildo. And one guy took a screenshot of it and then started sharing it to everybody. And I'm like, why are you doing this? It's not really relevant at all, you know? And it's really sad because it's like a funny thing that I thought was really funny. and it just got taken way out of context. Like, dude, there's no way I'm doing anything with that thing. Like, are you serious? This thing is huge. It's like this. I mean, I can show it to you, like, if you really, but I mean, I don't even know if Discord or if YouTube allows something like that. But yeah, so somebody started sharing that picture around of me just holding a dog dildo. And I'm like, all right, cool. Harassment. Sick. Like, no actual arguments or anything, but just being a hateful bigot. Got it. Cool. Amazing. They're like, oh, you figured it out, guys. Oh, you figured it out. He's bisexual. Oh, no. Oh, my God. He's bisexual. What are you going to do? Yeah. But that's the story. That's the story of the dog dildo. Yeah, there's a picture of people running around and getting all freaked out about that. But, yeah, that's it, basically. Let me take a look. All right, we're going to start the event. Let's go. All right. And of course, nobody can hear me. Can you hear me? Daniel? No, of course you can't. Of course you can't hear me. Quit Discord. Bubblegut says dog-shaped dildo seems like an awkward shaped dildo. That's correct. It is a very excitable shape. That is correct. That is a weird.
Hello, First Amender. I can hear you. Actually.
I am trying to get this stupid thing to work. Where the heck is my Discord? It's like not working for some reason. Hold on.
Oh, what do you mean?
Okay, no, I think
OBS?
It's like doing something weird. No, I literally can't click any of my servers. Let me be right back. I'll be right back. Hold on. Sorry.
Maybe just.
Let me take a look here. It's not you guys. I know it's working on YouTube. It's just Discord, just being an anus. It's just Discord. Like, it's literally just Discord being an anus, Daniel.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It happens.
All right. You're going to be proud of me. Are you ready, Daniel? You're going to be so proud of me.
Will you be proud of me? Okay. I need to share some.
Guess what difficulty I'm on in Diablo 2.
Are you on Hell?
Yeah.
Okay,
is that cool?
Okay, that's cool. It is cool. It's also very hard. It's also very hard.
Is it?
Like Hell difficulty? Yeah, it is very hard.
Why is it very hard?
Okay, so you just...
Is it because everything's immune to stuff?
Well, yes. And not only they're not just immune to stuff, they're immune to two stuff at the same time.
You know,
so
you're gonna yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah, you know, see, hear me out, right? Here's my solution, and I got it. I figured out the solution. I know how to resolve this. I got Talash. All right. Do you not see this guy I got here? This guy
I know.
is my man.
From Act 2
This
or
is
3?
this is the man, and he shows up. Being really good at freezing people. And this is very good for a sorceress.
Oh, yeah.
For obvious reasons.
It is very good. It is very good.
And Talash has not let me down. You know?
Until Hell. Because in Hell, and I got to warn you before you go into Hell, is in Hell you're going to have monsters that are immune to freezing, immune to cold, and immune to lightning.
Okay, well then, if that's happening, I'm just leaving. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm leaving. I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna go, well, that's fucked up, and then I'm gonna leave. That's what happens. Yeah. No, I was just telling a story earlier, Daniel, and you're probably aware of this particular thing. Somebody had asked me in side chat. They said, "Is the photo real?" And I was like, thumbnail.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, you know what photo it is, you dog. And they're sitting there, right? They're talking about the picture of me holding a dog dildo.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
There's like a dildo that is like here's the thing, right? The context of this, it's a lot less exciting than you think, a lot less scandalous than you really think. So basically what it came down as is I had a friend, and by the way, just so you know, Coffee Pot can confirm this. They sent me in the mail a VR headset, right? And he's a furry, okay? And so he sent me a VR headset alongside a dog dildo. And it was not a small dildo. It was like this giant fucking dildo that he just threw it in there. And I looked at him and I was like, what do you think, you know, I'm going to do with this thing? This thing is huge, you know? And I had a laugh about it with him. And that was basically it, right? And so while I was telling this story, I was sitting there on Discord telling this story. And they were like, "Can we see it? What does it look like?" And then I was like, "Sure. Here's what it looks like." And I showed it on camera of me holding this dog dildo. And I was like, "See? It's huge. Look at the size of it." And they took a screenshot of it, right? And then they started sharing it all throughout, like everywhere. Like they're like, First Dimension furry, he's got a dog dildo. And I'm just like, what is happening, bro? You guys are blowing this way out of proportion. It's not even close. Even
is
assuming
this like the guy, what's his name, Vosh, and like the
horse, yeah, the horse
thingy?
sticks, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. No, it's just whatever. It is what it is, you know. And what's sad about it is that rather than someone like wanting to go out of the way to actually like debate a topic or to say anything, it ends up just being like, you know, oh, I have this photo of you, and I'm like, wow, amazing, you found the photo of me. Like, bro, I'll fucking post that on my freaking live. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, you know, people don't have anything else better to do with their lives, I guess.
Talash! No, Talash! I need to leave.
You see, he did.
Bro.
You're dead too. Yep, told you. Welcome to hell, brother.
Bro. Is it really that hard?
Yep.
I feel like I should
really
be
that hard.
I feel like I should be able to stream by this, no problem. You're telling me I'm not going to be able to stream by this, no problem?
Nope, you wouldn't.
Why?
So I'm going to tell you right now.
All right, explain.
You are not going to be able to do Hell Act 1 until you get some better gear.
How do I get better gear?
It's going to be absolutely impossible for you to do.
How do I get better gear? I got gear, I think.
No, you have gear, you don't have good gear. That's the difference.
I am noticing my fire, lightning, poison, and cold resistance is sitting around at negative 90.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a very, very important question.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you a very important question?
Yes.
How many things have you crafted thus far?
2.
Okay, I'm going to take that as a nothing. Yes,
2.
Okay, that's
2 items.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What rune words have you crafted thus far?
What?
0. Okay, that's very cool.
I don't know what a rune word is.
That is very... Okay, so
let me get my drink.
rune words are probably the most important thing. Yeah, I know. You're saying one of the most important things in Diablo 2. Okay. And I'm gonna do you like a favor, okay? And I'm going to look up Lightning Sorcerer's build for Diablo 2. And I'm going to look at what rune words you are going to kind of need for your gear. Okay? Okay, so first of all, you're going to need the Heart of the Oak, which is kind of like a very good one for casters, usually. Heart of the Oak.
You got to help me out with this. How do I...
Okay. I'm gonna teach you. Okay, so this is the teaching moment.
You're gonna teach me? Okay, hold on. Can I
Yeah,
collect
so
my body
the first
first?
thing, of course you can.
And I got to
The
lash.
first thing you have to
so
do.
we
Yes,
got
yeah.
this.
He's gonna die. He's gonna die just as fast as last time. Don't worry.
Stop. Don't say these things. Listen.
So
you're talking
first of
bad
all,
about
you're
to
gonna
lash.
have to find.
No,
It's fine.
you're gonna
It's
apologize.
the
You're gonna apologize to lash. All right.
Well,
listen,
I hope you're gonna apologize to me when you're
listen. Think I don't know what I'm doing?
I mean, I know
I don't
you
know what I'm doing.
But you don't have the power to do what you think you can do.
He's immune to lightning. God damn it. Oh my
Yep.
god.
Oh, regular monsters are going to be immune to this shit, right? So
Oh
like
my
the immune
God.
to stuff is going to be regular monsters.
But look at what Talash is
Just so you
doing. Do you not observe? Ow. Ow!
What gear does he have? I need to look at his gear.
Oh, not gear.
Did you get gear?
No, not
Oh,
no
well,
gear.
that's no good. No good. So
What do I
you need to also
do? How
find
am I
gear.
supposed to?
Okay, look. Let me teach you. Okay, let me teach you. So first of all, you're gonna need when you're going on in your world and like doing stuff, you're gonna need to look for a very specific thing at first. So this is the first thing you're gonna need to look at. You're gonna need to look for a staff, or a mace that has 4 sockets.
Okay.
4, not 3, not 6, not 5, 4.
4.
It has to have 4 sockets and only 4. It doesn't
Okay.
work with more than or less than that. Once
Okay.
it does that, you're going to need to have 4 runes. A Ko rune, a Vex rune, a Pul rune, and a Thul rune.
Okay.
And once you have those runes, you're going to need to put them inside the socket one after the other in the correct order. So it's Ko, Vex, Pul, Thul. And once
Okay.
you do that, you're going to have the Heart of the Oak, which
What is
is
this?
going to...
What is this black
so
magic you have?
Yeah, it's going to give you like a lot of
Okay.
things. It's going to give you like a plus 40%
All right.
faster cast rate, which is amazing for
Alright.
casters.
Okay.
You're going to deal way more damage.
All right.
You're
So,
gonna have
I
a
gotta find
maximum mana.
a staff that has 4.
4. Yes.
No
You're
problem.
gonna
I got-
have plus- Yeah.
And
Plus
I gotta do it in
15%
that
mana.
order, like at one after the other.
Yeah, you need to put them when you're putting
Why
them
in that order?
You need to put them because otherwise it doesn't work. That's it, they're called rune words, right?
Okay.
And the rune word has to be very specific, right?
Okay.
You have a +3 to all skills on it. +3. Just imagine. You have a
Okay.
+3 to all skills. Okay?
Uh-huh.
You have all resistances +30 to +40,
Okay.
which is exceptionally good.
Okay.
And you have a level 4 Oak Sage. The Oak Sage, in case you don't know, increases your maximum health.
Okay.
Okay? It's just a level
Wait,
4.
are all of these
but-
guys just immune to lightning? Every single one of them. Poor Talash. Look at him.
Yeah.
Talash
There's
is
gonna be
dead.
a lot of them like that.
Talash is dead, guys. How do I get out of here? Help! Wait. Am I screwed? Am I actually screwed? Did I screw up my build? Am I just like... It's really that bad, huh? Hey there?
Yeah.
Why is it so bad? I don't Don't discourage me. How dare you? You discouraged me last time, and then I was like, I'm not gonna put you on below. But then I trucked
Man.
through it. And then I was like, I don't know what Diablo, what he was talking about. Okay, let's see. I need a staff that has 4. Can I buy that at the shop? Does that exist in the shop?
Yes, they do exist, but not from the regular thing, I think. I don't think we can go to like a regular... like the regular vendors to get like a +4 stuff.
There's a +3 there. I can't do +3.
I mean, maybe if you're lucky enough.
It has to be a
if you're
4.
lucky enough.
Huh. This one's got a +3. That's a really good one. I don't have enough gold. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We got to figure something out. We got this. And Talash died again, which means I'm just going to walk away from those guys because they're definitely too tough for me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a thing. Your mercenary is going to die a lot in hell unless he has really good gear.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you don't have good gear for your mercenary, you're just gonna waste your money on him.
Really?
Yeah. It's straight up like you're just wasting every dime. Because they're gonna die at the first minions you're going to encounter.
Yeah. Well, but they didn't
They're
die
too
at the
weak.
first minions. I don't
Well,
like.
obviously,
I'm not a fan of
exaggerating a
the.
bit.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the immune to lightning though bit. That's the part that I. If it's not immune to lightning, I think I'll be good. I think I'll be okay. But yeah, if it's immune
Not
to
gonna
lightning,
be good,
I'm
but
dead.
yeah. You're going to last a bit longer if they're immune to lightning.
What? No, no. I don't last at all when I'm immune when they're immune to lightning. That's the problem.
And then, as I said, so you're gonna that's gonna be.
All right, we got our first call. Do you hear it?
I don't. I see somebody here raise their hands in the side chat.
You're on the line with First Amender. How you doing?
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You should, by the way, for everybody who's in the audience, you guys should be able to hear me if you, or hear the caller if you click the stream. Anyway, what do you want to talk about?
Murdering children.
Murdering children? Is this American? How are you doing, American? You sound like American.
I'm well. I am American, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah. This is a gentleman named American, where their name is Eric, for short.
Whoa, you don't gotta dox me, bro.
That's not doxing. You call yourself American with
Correct.
Eric.
But anyways, I want to debate abortion.
Okay.
What is it labeled on your hot takes list?
I think abortions are necessary. I think they're good for society to have abortions. I think that I think it's a very stressful decision that individuals have to make. And I just don't believe that it should be up to, a politician or somebody like 100 to 1,000 miles away making the decision on behalf of the mother. That's what I think.
Do you think that tax dollars should fund these abortions?
No.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you believe in child support?
Do I believe in child support? Yes. I think it is necessary.
As necessary. Now,
Yep.
would you say that, do you believe that men should have any say in the abortion or termination of their
No.
pregnancy that's of their child?
No.
Why?
Because I don't believe it's the father that is actually taking the brunt of the consequence. It's the mother. Like the father can just up and leave, in which case you're probably going to have a court case in front of you where you have to pay child support. But in the other case, the reality is that all of the risk is being associated to the mother. The mother is the one that has to carry the baby to term. The mother is the one that has to undergo the pregnancy. The mother is the one that has to go changes into their body chemistry. Their whole body just completely changes permanently. And I think that ought to be up to that decision maker to make that, not the father.
So would you say then that it is fair in a world where abortion is legal and accessible that men should not be obligated to pay child support as long as abortion is an option for a woman?
No.
And why is that?
Because the mother can decide to have the child And if they decide to have the child and the father decides to forego responsibility, they ought to be responsible for the child, if not for this, not for a retributive sake, but rather for the child's well-being.
So why is it that a woman has, it takes two to tango, right? We always hear that. It takes two to tango,
Yep.
but in this case, it only seems like it takes one to kill or abort.
Correct.
But then
'cause
why
it's
is
their
it when
body.
the baby's born, and now all of a sudden it takes two to pay? I
Well,
don't
yeah,
see
because
how that would be
the child is
fair.
already born. The child possesses that autonomy.
Correct. But, if a woman has the choice of the ultimate form of birth control, which is, killing the baby, terminating the pregnancy, whichever terminology you want to use, why should a man be forced to pay child support?
Yeah,
if a
because,
woman
well, the
could've just
reason
got
why
an
this is
abortion
confusing
instead?
is because you're thinking of it from a retributive standpoint. I'm looking at it as not a retributive standpoint, but one on the basis of ensuring that people can live a better life. The child
What do you mean
didn't
by
choose to
retributive?
become born into society. They just are born in society. And it is true that having better socioeconomic status or outcomes leads to better outcomes for the child. And so at bare minimum, I do believe in child support. Sure. I think it's necessary. If not but for the outcome of the child. I hope that makes sense.
It doesn't, because, I get it, but I also don't get it, because, like I said, men are expected to wear condoms, take the proper precautions, yada, 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 whereas women can just kill the fucking baby, right? And then, there's
I mean,
nothing
you
to
can
worry
wear
about anymore.
condoms, right?
Correct.
So go
But
wear
I'm
a
saying
condom.
condoms.
If you don't
condoms
want child
fail.
support, wear a condom.
Well, no, if a woman doesn't want to have to deal with a baby, she should just have an abortion, right? But at the end of the day, I don't think a man should have to pay child support for. Now, see, what if the dad wants to keep the baby and the woman doesn't want to keep the baby, but the woman wants to keep the baby and the dad wants nothing to do with the baby? Can the woman just get rid of the child?
Because
but
it's the mother that has
the
to
man
undergo the
can't.
life-threatening procedure.
But the man has to still pay regardless.
Because
It's
it's the
like a
woman that has to
lose-lose.
undergo the life-threatening procedure.
The life-threatening procedure. What is
Yes.
the fatality rate for pregnancies?
I believe the fatality is like 2 or 3%, but the actual complications rate is upwards over 15%. And this is assuming best hospital conditions. It is very dangerous.
You see nothing wrong with this at all. Just murdering unborn babies. You see
Well, I
no
don't
detriment
believe.
to
Well,
society
like
from this
the
lack of birth
you
rates,
by the very metric of you saying murdering, you're already predicating in your brain that it is wrong on the get-go, because murdering assumes that it is an unjustifiable killing. But I feel like I justified it just fine. I don't believe that a person has a right to another person's body. I do believe that if you are going to have a child and bring them into the world, you are responsible for that child. So if there is somebody that makes the decision that they want to have that child, then the people who made it are the ones that ought to be responsible for that. And because the father is
100%.
not, because the father doesn't actually have any ties to the child outside that he just had a good time one night. I just think it's really important for the well-being of the child that the father, at bare minimum, provides financial support.
Do you believe in mandatory paternity tests?
Mandatory paternity. I think like if a
DNA
paternity test was necessary, like that there's like a question into the custody of the child, I would probably sure say that we can have paternity tests. But no, for every single individual, I don't think it's necessary.
You don't think it should just be done in there at the time of birth? Just, DNA the baby, DNA the father, or the supposed father, and just get it out the way and over with? That way we don't have to waste time in court and waste. You don't think? I mean, how much of taxpayers' dollars do you think is wasted in the child/family?
Well, most
court
people
system?
don't question like whether or not it's their baby. They just, yeah.
I mean,
So like
there's a lot of
my
people out there who
method
question.
would waste less money. Your method would waste more money because you're forcing every individual to go through that.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the taxpayers' dollar though, right? Whoever's in charge of the hospital bill would be the one paying for it.
All right,
So, I
well,
mean,
that seems
whether
kind of wasteful.
the mother
I
or
wouldn't want every
mean,
single individual that comes into life that we need to confirm for sure what their DNA is. Sounds kind of weird.
why? We confirm a lot of other things. Why not this? One of the most important things, another human life entering into the world. They get a social
Is
security
it just
number. You
like
know?
if they're
why don't
not
they get a DNA
if they're not
imprint?
sure about it and they really want to know, it's right there for you. You can do it. All you, homie. Yep. That's where I'm at.
I mean, you are aware of how many men raise children unknowingly that aren't theirs, right? It's a pretty.
Maybe, sure. You should probably get a DNA test to confirm.
So you're just
They're
saying
pretty
it's on the man every time to get a DNA test.
I mean, if you want a DNA test, go get a DNA test. This isn't hard.
I think it should be mandatory. I think
Okay.
establishing paternity,
That's
other
weird.
than along the lines of just a verbal
Are
confirmation,
you
yeah, that's my kid.
Are you a small government or a big government kind of guy?
I would say I'm a no government kind of guy.
So
But,
would you?
you know, we
So
live in
do
a-
you think
we
that
live in
the
a society
do you think
that
that the
has a
government
large
should have access to everybody's DNA? Kind of weird. Don't you think?
They have access to mine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying like everyone's, like not just yours.
Yeah, why not? Why
Okay.
not? For identification
You don't see anything
purposes, why not? We
authoritarian
have
about
to
that or anything.
I mean, we have to. No, why? What would we be tyrannical about having everybody's DNA? I mean, we have everybody's identification. We got RF.
Everybody would
Everybody
be
has a
able to
social
determine
security number.
where you come from and allele profiles. It'd be really weird. I don't know. I just think it should be up to a person's decision if they want to do that, and that's it. That's where I'm at with it.
Interesting take. So, what are your thoughts then on abortion and the amount it negatively, like the disproportionate rate in the black community amongst, most abortions are in, and especially Planned Parenthood, are in predominantly black areas.
Yep. We have been subjugating.
Why?
Well, because we've been subjugating minorities for a really long time, and redlining laws still, the rippling effects of redlining laws still exist to this day, and the fact that it's combined with our education system has resulted in people having poorer education and being pushed off into poorer areas, and therefore being poorer and having worse situational outcomes. Which then causes, because they are poor and they have low socioeconomic conditions, they end up not having babies. That's why. Yep. And I completely agree with you. We should have unions. We should have better options available. We should change the way that our education system works, where people who are at poorer socioeconomic conditions can actually get the proper teaching that they need and the proper funding that they need, so that way that these things stop happening. I agree with you.
So you don't think that there's no, what's the word I'm trying to think of here? There's no planned. This wasn't planned to target African American. I mean, this initially was, created to target the African American community.
I think I've heard of Margaret Sanger's position on this.
She was a racist.
I mean, I agree with you, but I mean, I think that if you're talking about people who can't afford to have kids, I think that they should be able to choose as to whether or not they have that child. It doesn't really matter.
Can't afford to have a kid? What's can't afford to have a kid? Right?
You look at your bank account and you go, I can't afford this.
How much does a kid cost?
I would probably venture to say minimum. Honestly, I've never done the budgeting on that. Let me think about that. So if I assume, let me figure it out. Okay, let's figure it out. So if I, okay, let me pull up my notepad real quick. All right. So let me see here. Give me a moment.
I could tell you it's feasible to raise a child in a single parent household off of $40,000 a year. If I told you that, would you believe it so?
Let me take a look. All right. So if we assume, food, I'm going to say, if it's food, it's probably at minimum $250 a month. but probably closer to 400. So let's just say 350 for food. 350 food. I think like water, sewage, trash, electricity, you're probably looking at, I don't know, maybe 150 extra. Water, sewage, trash. And trash.
Wait, what do you pay for water? Well, what if you're renting an apartment, right? And it's included with your rent?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have that. So I'm saying like how much it would cost me, I guess. 350 food, 150 for water, sewage, trash. I already pay for the internet, so none of that. I would also probably have to lose some money here because I actually have a roommate. So I would need an additional 600 somewhere. Need to pay for new roommate or remove roommate. Okay, so what else would it cost? It would cost probably likely for college. I would probably do roughly about $10,000 up front. But we can divide that by 18, and well, let's actually do much less. Let's do that by 5 years maybe. So 10,000 divided by 5, probably about $2,000 for a year. So we can divide that by 12. So that way we can make sure that this is down to a year. So $167 for college fund. And then I would imagine that there would probably be some health insurance, 120. So health insurance premium. I would probably look at like dental. Dental would probably be, I don't know, I'm assuming like $5,000 every 5 years, and then divide that by 12. It's probably going to be around $84 a month. Let's see, dental. Am I missing anything, chat?
$84 a month for dental?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, they may need braces.
No.
Yeah, I think they might need like braces or something. Sure.
No, that's cosmetic shit.
No. What? Dude, if my kid, my teeth,
$5 every other week for dental insurance.
I got news for you. My teeth are horrible, and I needed braces. There's no way I am not having a kid, and that kid has like messed up teeth. So yeah, I'm going to have 84 a month for dental. I'm assuming, right, it's going to be roughly, I mean, just to pay for that kid's braces, it'd probably be around 5,000. Yeah. So I think 5,000 is more than enough. Plus there's likely root canals, and this is just genetic. It has nothing to do with, them not being able to brush their teeth. That's just what would happen. Okay. So I think did I cover everything? Daniel, you have a kid, right?
You missed. I have a kid, and you've missed a lot of.
Okay, all right. Well, hold on. Like, am I missing anything? I guess. Like, I've accounted for food, water, sewage, trash. I'm losing $600 a month because of losing a roommate because they have to have their own room. I got a college fund. I got a health insurance premium, and then I've got a dental. Oh man, good point. Holy crap. Let's just say $200 a month for clothes. Does that seem about okay?
No, $200 a month for clothes.
Things they need for school.
Things for school. Yep. Okay. So probably like, I don't know, maybe 100 for school a month.
A year.
Oh yeah.
Okay. 100 a month.
They need
for
to go
schooling?
In vacations with their school,
no,
like
about 100
trips
a year
and shit like
school
that.
Supplies and.
Ooh,
I
man.
mean, that's what
okay,
I
let's just assume like it's not every
supplies.
month. So let's just say like 25 a month for that. School trips. Okay, and then of course their lunch money. Don't they need? We were got $350 for food. We'll be all right. Is there anything else? Can you think of anything else?
Private school tuition.
That's about it.
I take him to public school. I'd be all right. All right, that's about it. Okay, so it would be 350 plus 150 plus 600 plus 167 plus 120 plus 84 plus 200 plus 100 plus 25. Okay, so it would cost me $1,796 a month. Hey, I can afford it.
Yeah, on your own income by yourself.
I could do it. I could do it. It's doable.
If you feel comfortable saying it, if you don't mind saying, how much do you make a year?
Oh no, I'm not telling you that.
What, 60K?
I'm not telling you. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Again, I'm not.
Well, I'll tell you, Mender, I make 40K a year, right? And I'll tell you, I pay $1,200 a month for rent. My
Okay.
electric bill is anywhere from $100 to $150 a month. My son's tuition is about $250 a month for private school. Water is included with my rent, so I don't worry about that. Spend about $60 a week on gas getting to and from work. Let's see, what else do I pay for? Oh yeah, that comes out of my paycheck though, so I don't really notice that per se. Like health insurance, dental, vision, life insurance, legal insurance. What other benefits do I have on that kid? I don't know, I got a shit ton. But what else do I help? Oh, my cell phone bill is like $80. Internet's about $80. Groceries, I spend about maybe 75-ish a week. I don't know. Like I said, I do it on $40K by myself, and I still have money left over every month.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not just about
Which,
the money.
I don't know. When people say that it's
also
like
about
too
the time you're
expensive to have
spending.
kids, I really don't think, like, I don't know. I just feel like you can't, like, financially plan for a kid, right? Like, I mean, you can to some
What?
extent, but sometimes, I mean, you can to some extent, but,
Dude,
you know,
people,
some stuff is just, you
I
gotta take- you
literally
gotta
just
handle it as
now
it
financially
comes.
planned for a kid.
Not really, because you
Yeah, I
didn't
did.
plan for any of the unforeseen consequences, like breaking a fucking leg at school in gym
All right,
class or something,
assume,
having to pay for the surgery.
all right, assume
right?
an additional 400 then. There you go, done, did it.
I'm
Assume
just saying,
400
like,
for unforeseen
it
circumstances.
It varies month to month, right? Day to day. You know what you're gonna have. Year
No,
to
so
year,
here's
what you're gonna
let me
pay
help
to
you out,
raise a
right?
kid.
This
You
is
can't
actually
average it out. You
here's
can't average it
here's
out.
an accounting trick. I'm gonna teach you a really interesting accounting trick. For things like depreciation. So it's actually something that's done commonly, like in things with depreciation expense. You account for the expense, and then here's what you do, right? With that money that you would have spent, but you're not spending, you accounted for it. And so that means you're taking that money and you're removing it and you're putting it off to the side, and you go, I'm not going to spend that money. So then when the rainy day does come, you're ready. See how that works?
Well, yeah, it's called the nest egg and savings. But you know, besides
Yeah, you
that,
just have a no. I'm
it's
saying
really
you can
not that
plan
expensive to
for
raise a
unforeseen
kid.
circumstances.
Well, correct. but
Because
I'm
a
saying
lot
you
of this
can't-
stuff is quite foreseeable. It's a question is whether or not you take it into account. That's how that works.
Wait, I mean, you can't financially plan your child's life from conception to 18 years old, right?
Wrong.
That's not
I just
possible.
did it.
No,
That kid, I got to tell you, man, that kid is getting $10,000 straight into a Roth IRA, into a really solid ETF that just gives a consistent rate of return. So by the time that they turn 18, that account will be worth over $200,000 for college. So yes, they will be good to
hey,
go.
that's fine and dandy.
For
You can do all
they
that.
will be good to go straight all the way to a doctorate. My kid's going to be a doctor. That's what I would do.
What if he doesn't want to, though? Well, what if he doesn't want to?
Well, then they go take that money and go do something with it.
Yeah, like what? You just gonna let him take him and do whatever?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
they-
their life. I mean, I would probably
They go
guide
blow it
them.
on
I mean, I'm
cocaine
not
and
going to let
hookers
them
and
just.
they-
Yeah, I'm not going to let them do that. For example, you know, I
Well,
would.
if
I
they
would.
did.
I would. Well, I mean, then I'd be like, you know, I would not enable them. I would take the
Suffer?
money away
Yeah,
from them.
say that.
Yeah. Because it would
Would
be
be the
it would be
parable like
under
in the
my
Bible
name,
of
right?
the-
It's not like that the kid that they just have 100% access to the money. No, they would get the money if they're using it for what I need them to use it for.
I mean, I guess, but I don't know. I just feel like when people say it's too expensive to have a child, like, you know, most people just dive in and have a child and
Yeah, well,
take it day by day.
I suppose if you
And-
don't, if you lack foresight, then yeah, I suppose you can do it that way. I don't do
No,
things that way though. I
Well,
plan
Amanda,
things through. I think about it. I make rational decisions. That's how I do this.
Nobody's prepared to be a parent on day one, right? Like,
Wrong.
That baby comes
You
out
are-
the womb.
you are
not
so
ready
100%
to be a
wrong.
parent. How am I wrong? You have no.
There are so
experience
many
with this at
people
all.
that plan this whole thing out from front to end.
Just financially,
did.
or I'm talking about when it comes to actually.
Did you? How'd you feel,
mentally-
Daniel? Daniel's telling me that he
And-
did.
Yeah,
You did what?
we literally
I
planned
can't
when to
hear
have
him
the
because, you know,
kid.
I'm banned. You know,
Yeah,
so-
he doesn't hear me,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah,
If I
yeah.
was
Hold
near
on. Just
YouTube,
be
it's
quiet
not
for a
really
second, and
planned.
I'll relay it. I'll relay it. Just go ahead, Daniel.
No, we planned everything from conception to like everything. It's like, you know, we
Oh, okay. So you were
we
like a
literally had our
smart and
first kid was
intelligent
planned.
human being, and
Yeah,
you
it
came up
wasn't
with
easy regardless, you know.
No, of course not. It's never
but
easy.
It was planned.
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew.
Okay, they're
and
saying
by the way,
that,
we also planned for the things being hard.
Got it. So okay. So this other parent is telling me that they planned, and they are saying that you know, I mean, it was hard, but I mean, you planned for these things, and then, you know.
But they knew. So Daniel can hear me. Daniel, are you saying that you knew everything before you became a parent? You knew everything about raising a child. Are you saying that?
That's not what planning means. Planning means is like you plan to the best of your knowledge, and you also plan for the things that you might not know when you're planning, right? So you're gonna be aware of some things that you might be are not aware of when you're doing that thing, right? Because yes, it's like, you know, for example, you know, we weren't aware that, you know, one of the hard parts of having a kid is having to deal with literal shit and shit smell like a lot of
He
times,
responding
right?
right
For
now?
example.
Yeah, he is. He's saying that one of the hardest things that he had to deal with was shit and shit smells.
That wasn't the hardest part for me, but like I said, you're not prepared for that until you change that first diaper, right? Like that's not something you can just prepare.
Oh, no, I
I mean,
was
unless
prepared for
you're
that.
practicing changing other kids' diapers and shit. And I mean, but you know, I mean, like that's not something you don't come face to face with that until you're face to face with it. You know what I mean? That's not something that you can mentally.
What is
prepare
your
for.
okay? So you came in here with like this anti-abortion stance, and
Yes.
we're
know, we got
so
all
far
we got
off
all
the
over the place.
rails.
Right?
And
I know.
so why no abortions again?
Because it's unethical and immoral.
Well, that's for you, but the question isn't whether or not that you would have an abortion. The question is whether or not that you would have a politician or a Supreme Court representative 100 to 1,000 miles away make the decision as to who has to undergo the life-threatening procedure. That's the difference.
Well, I think it boils down to the basic right to life, you know, of the human being that was conceived. I mean,
So you're saying that it,
you know-
it should be up to the right to. What about the life of the mother? Does that matter?
no.
Okay,
It's up to her.
so the whole right to life thing, just throw that out the window.
Well, no. I mean, she'd be dying a natural death, right? The cause
Oh,
of
okay,
death
yeah.
would be
So if she dies because of childbirth, you know,
so her child can live.
She
yes.
doesn't matter.
So that,
yeah,
that
that's
is the most
idiotic.
motherly thing a
That's
mother could ever.
idiotic.
Do
Do you have anything? Do you have anything else? I mean, I don't find that to be rational. I would imagine that I mean, if
Well, let me
the
ask you
mother,
this question.
like, I got news for you, man. If that mother has, say, like, other kids or like has loved ones, I think it's honestly pretty morally abhorrent to say you must have that child because arbitrary distinction here at the suffering of literally everyone around them. So I'm just going to say tacitly hard no on that. It just comes down to the individual's decision. Yep.
I mean, I'm not for the complete illegalization of abortion. However, under the very strict condition that $0 from my tax money goes towards any research or anything involving this stuff, my tax dollar, I do not want my tax dollars going towards that shit.
Well, I think like there's money put into research, and it's mostly to keep, you know, parents safe and make sure that that you know it's an effective treatment, in reducing mortality rates in general. That's really mostly what the research is about. As far as the actual abortion, you can actually rest your pretty head because there is not a single dollar that is put into Planned Parenthood through abortion. It does not exist.
You know, it warms my heart to know that my money isn't going towards such things. But the question
Did you not know that?
I don't know. I I mean, Planned Parenthood is going to Planned Parenthood, right? That's what they're going to do.
Well, I'm just telling you that is actually a very strict stipulation. It is backed up by federal law that is the case.
Corruption is rampant, right? The serpent takes many shapes.
There's some pretty hefty auditing. You would then have to substantiate what you're saying and not just say corruption and then walk away and then wash your hands clean, right? You need evidence.
Are you saying the possibility?
If there's evidence of that, then great. Let's take a look at it. Maybe there's evidence. I'd love to see it. Obviously, I think that falls into line specifically with the separation of church and state, and so I would not be in favor of that. And so. Yeah. Right.
So
but you have to provide evidence of
that.
You can't just say, oh, I think it might be this. And then that's an argument.
Well, no, what I'm asking you is it a 0% chance of no, corruption? Is the percent chance of it 0?
Again, this is not relevant. I mean, maybe I can provide a maybe there. And then that's about as far as it goes. Anything else? It's
like with any other government organization, they could or couldn't be fucking us, right?
Yeah. But, Car Photography checked ChatGPT. You may want to ask it one more time if any money goes towards abortions. I am aware that Planned Parenthood receives federal funds, but try again.
I don't use ChatGPT or any AI.
No, I know you didn't. It says some person in my chat typed it without doing any additional research on that.
Well, I wanted to ask you my question earlier, First Amender. Would you say that the most motherly thing a mother could do is give up her life for her unborn child?
I don't know what that means. The most motherly thing. What would the motherly thing be? What is breastfeeding the most motherly thing? Is giving childbirth? Is that the most motherly thing? Is loving your child the most motherly thing? I don't know. It's such a vacuous statement. There's nothing I can help you with. It doesn't have any meaning.
Well, look at it from the other way. Is the way of the father. Should a man or a husband or a father take a bullet for his children or for his wife? Right? That would be a very, manly or fatherly thing to do, to die for your children or your wife.
I don't know what that looks like either. I think like a deadbeat dad that doesn't want to pay child support is far worse than the one that just assists the mother in driving to a Planned Parenthood.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So a man being complicit in murdering a child.
I don't know why you got to put it with such demonic, like trying to demonize the word.
Because it's murder. I mean, I'm not.
Well, yeah, I know you and your own predicate are saying it's murder, but I don't find that to be particularly convincing. I don't agree with that.
I don't understand why you don't think
operating
it's murder.
that off of the predicate, if I just operate on the predicate that you're a terrible person, and I just say, but you're a terrible person, that's not really an argument.
I mean, you tell me I'm a terrible person. Oh, you told me in the past I'm a terrible person.
Well, because you do terrible things sometimes.
I mean, not really. It's not terrible. Are they a little bit abhorrent? Sure, but I wouldn't say they're terrible. Right? I don't advocate for anything too crazy that I'm sure you've heard way crazier.
All right, are we doing anything else? What do you got? Do you have anything? What is your argument?
My argument is that abortion is murder.
All right, cool, sick. Things are bad because things are bad.
I want to know why you think it's not murder.
I don't think it isn't. I don't believe that it matches the criteria of an unjustified killing.
So what makes it a justified killing?
Well, there's the question as to whether or not the mother wants it or wants to undergo a life-threatening procedure in order to bring a person into the world.
For any reason at all.
Oh, yeah. I think if you just don't feel like it, you can just yeetus the fetus. Yeah.
Wow. Wrong eye color.
Yeetus the fetus.
Just get rid of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's where I'm at with it.
Why do you have such a disregard? I mean, Amender,
no, I haven't. No, believe it or not, I have a great deal of regard for human life. More than you can even imagine.
Well, then what about
that's
the unborn?
That's why I have these. Because it's not as important as the mother. I just don't think it's as important as the mother. I don't.
I mean,
No.
what if we found out down the road, right, that fetuses can feel pain?
I'm sure they could at some level. Sure.
Would that change any of your stances?
No.
What if they said that they were aware of what was happening to them in the womb when it was happening?
No.
What if they suffer? What if they feel?
No.
What if they have emotions and they can feel scared or terrorized or trauma doesn't matter because it's unborn?
No, I just here's the thing. I just believe that the mother is the one that has to undergo the life-threatening procedure, and they just have to make that decision for themselves. I don't care how much the child suffers or whatever. I don't believe that you have a right to the body of another person.
You don't believe you have a right to the body of
like a
another
baby
person.
doesn't have a right to the mother.
How did that other person get there? How did that other person get there?
Sex, typically. Or IVF. You can do IVF.
Wait, we're not gonna go there. I don't believe in IVF.
What?
But the baby got there, right? I don't know. IVF is immoral. I don't fuck with it. I don't even want to talk about it. No. I'm saying a woman.
What's wrong with you?
Sex, a woman has.
Why are you like this? It's like a completely reasonable procedure.
Catholic, okay? You're gonna challenge me on my religious
God
beliefs. You're not gonna get anywhere. That's
why I'm not even.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not even.
I have found more and more Catholics, and the more Catholics that I talk to, the more I go, I don't like religion. Isn't that sad?
Well, I mean,
it's turning me the other way. I am turning the other cheek.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean,
away.
Hey, yo, pause.
From the.
But all BS aside, no, I lost my train of thought. I don't know. Anyways, I want to still finish smoking this marijuana. You enjoy the rest of your show, Amender. It was a good talk. Maybe one day we'll be able to converse in MDD again, but
maybe
until then, have fun with your show, man.
I'll be honest with you. Hopefully not. I'll be honest with you. Hopefully not.
Well, tougher, I guess. All right. Enjoy your. Today's what? Third? Oh, he's thinking it's Friday. I don't work tomorrow. All right. Take care, bro.
All right. Bye. What'd you think of that, Daniel?
Oh man, dude, I missed him like I missed some people in my ass. Also, it's I just realized something. I just realized that people like American, as soon as the conversation is towards who can have a say on whether or not an abortion should take place, they're putting women and men on the same plane, right? We're so equal. We're so equal.
Yeah.
As soon as it comes to trans people rights, well, women are different. What do you mean?
Yeah.
They're not equal. They're different. So it's
total hypocrisy.
This
I completely
switch
agree with you.
and bait and they're doing is just so hypocritical. It's I can't take them seriously.
No, I agree.
They shouldn't be taken seriously.
Anyway, it looks like we've got Hack the Planet who would like to join. So I'm going to go ahead and set my phone on Do Not Disturb mode. And we'll turn it back on. Just we're going to invite Hack the Planet.
Hey, gents.
And Hack the Planet. How are you doing?
How's it going? I'm great. How are you doing?
What would you like to debate about?
Well, I think that the abortion debate was somewhat interesting. I think I'm more or less in agreement with you, but for different reasons. And I just thought it might be kind of interesting to describe that a bit. I find it a little bizarre that you are pro-abortion, yet believe in the sanctity of life. It seems like those are two issues that are hard to sort of square. Mm-hmm. I'd be willing to concede the piece about if it's the mother's life that's in danger, right? and that you could still believe in the sanctity of life, and if you prioritize that. But outside of that particular circumstance, I'm not sure I understand how your view actually is consistent.
Okay, so you're saying, okay, well, what I would say is, I think what's really important to consider is that if I say, for example, I have society A and society B. In society A, we allow abortions and we allow easy of access to abortions. And then in society B, we have no abortions. In society B, it is empirical, the fact that when people do not have access to abortion, this increases poverty, it increases drug use, it lowers educational outcomes, it worsens socioeconomic conditions. Virtually almost every metric that you would effectively want to go down. Oh, it also increases crime. Virtually every metric that you would want to be down in a society effectively goes up when there are no abortion access. And so, because I do believe that pregnancy in and of itself is a life-threatening procedure. It's very dangerous for someone to go through a pregnancy. And I believe that the government should not be telling people what they can and cannot do or have to undergo a life-threatening procedure with their body. I think that they should be able to choose as to when. And as a result, you have some people who are ready and want to have kids, and then people who are not ready and do not have kids. And it has overall better outcomes because people can control when they can and cannot have babies.
Sure. I mean, and that definitely explains your position on abortion. But it doesn't really square with your statement that you believe that human life is intrinsically valuable.
Sorry, I'm writing down what you say. Well, when society does better, that does make life do better. People do better when people have the choice. So like that in and itself, are you asking me to try to tell you why life is valuable?
No, so I would agree with everything that you said about abortion, as that you could measure those outcomes. That's not really in question. I think the question is, even if all those good things were to happen, and society, has these improved outcomes, if you believe in the ultimate sanctity of human life as a high priority, then I don't see why any of those things would matter. You would either have to say that human life is not inherently valuable and worth protecting, or you would have to, that's really the only position that you could take with that position, actually.
No. And I'm going to ask you the question again because I understood you perfectly. I wrote down exactly what you said. You said it doesn't square the statement that life is intrinsically valuable. So I'm asking you, are you telling me that I need to justify the existence of life to you? Why it's necessary?
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, what I'm saying is...
okay, well, I mean, you're
earlier-
completely misunderstanding because you're saying even if all of those good things happen and society has the improved outcomes, if you believe in the sanctity of human life as a high priority, why would any of these things matter? You would have to say that human life is not inherently valuable, worth protecting, and you're just providing a black and white argument. Like you're asking it's either this or that, and I'm saying no. It's more complex than that. And I'm telling, and I ask you, hey, do you want me to explain why life is valuable? So that way you can understand the argument. And you're saying, no, that's not what I'm asking. I don't know what you think this is. Do you actually want to have a conversation, or do you intend to just provide a black and white fallacy?
No, so what I'm trying to understand here is you said something earlier, and I may have misunderstood it, you said that you believe that human life is intrinsically valuable.
Yes.
Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay, so if human life, what do you mean by that statement?
I believe that people should be able to live their life as they see fit. And I believe that they should be able, provided that they're not harming other individuals, they should be able to enjoy their life. And they should have access to, higher quality of living outcomes.
Sure. So then I entirely misunderstood what you were saying, right? What I thought you were saying is that human life is inherently valuable and thus worth protecting. But you're using this term human life to refer to basically not just whether or not you're alive or not, but also the way in which you live your life and the quality of life.
I mean, like, for example, if somebody was, if they were, for example, just they have to live their entire life in a cage and they're fed cat food their whole life, and then they die at 10, I would probably say that probably wasn't a life worth living, right?
Sure,
it's probably more than just being alive. Take, for example, we have a crack addicted mother who just is looking to score some more rock. And the way that they were able to score some rock is that they offered sex to their drug dealer. They have sex with their drug dealer. They end up pregnant. And then they end up carrying that baby to term. And congratulations, that baby lives to 2 years old and then dies. What's the point of that? It's just suffering.
I'm actually pro-abortion. So I'm actually pro-abortion, but I'm just trying to understand because I when people say they believe in the sanctity of human life, usually what they're saying is that murdering a person is bad, right? And it should not be done categorically. So in the analogy that you gave of the person who is locked in this cage, let's just try to engage in a bit of a contrived hypothetical here, right? This person is trapped, and there's an all-powerful, person that's controlling the situation. And they hand you a gun and they say, look, you can either shoot this person in the head or walk out of here. What would you do?
I would probably just sit there.
So you would not kill the person?
That's correct.
But so this seems to not really square with what you're saying then, right?
It does because the person that's there is already born. They already possess autonomy.
Okay, so then now what we're talking
like you're not
about
like that
is,
like that baby, that person is not required the sustenance of other people. They are self-sustaining.
Yeah, so and this is the definitional distinction that you're making, and this is important. You're basically saying that a human that exists outside of a womb is categorically different. It is worthy of human life, but yes. a human that is, let's say, in a womb and is being prepared for pregnancy is not necessarily desiring of human life because it is dependent. Is that accurate?
It is not as important as the mother because the mother has to undergo a life-threatening procedure.
Sure, but is it accurate though? Like, did what I just say, is that accurate?
No, I rephrased it and then made it accurate.
Okay, so could you rephrase it again, but refer to, like, I just want to understand.
The mother has to undergo a life-threatening procedure. Therefore, the life of the mother is more important. You do not have the right over the life of other people, and so therefore you ought that person has custody over that person.
Sure, but this seems to be like a very strange definition, a proprietary definition that I'm trying to unwind. I'm trying to really get it. It seems like what you're saying is you do acknowledge that the fetus is a human, right?
Yes.
But that you're
like
valuing...
Taxonomically speaking, it is it is a human.
Right. And you're saying that the woman that has the child is also a human, right?
Yes.
And you're saying that because there's an increase in risk, which I'm not even sure if this is true, but I'll just accept it, right? If there's an increase in risk that the the woman going through with the pregnancy is more likely to die or get injured or something like that, versus having the abortion at any particular time, right? Like that's essentially the argument.
I'm not following what you're saying. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, sure. So it seems like what you're saying, you're making a distinction here. You're saying that a fetus is worth less than the woman's life, right? And that you're going further than saying that a woman who is actually going through like a medical emergency where you have to choose, you're actually going further than that, and you're saying that imposing any risk at all on the woman definitionally makes it okay for her to abort the child because of that risk.
Yeah, I don't know why you have to make it so wordy, but yeah.
Well, I think it's important to be concise here, right? Because
you did the exact opposite of being concise. Anyway, yeah, I agree with you.
Well, do you want to rephrase it and make it more concise?
I believe that a mother should be able to choose as to whether or not they want to undergo a life-threatening procedure. That's it.
Yeah, but it doesn't explain the why, though.
It does.
Like, why do you believe that?
Because the mother's life is greater than that of the unborn fetus.
Sure, but that doesn't actually explain the situation, because most pregnancies are carried to term without any significant complication.
Is there any way that you can like take me to your point without all of the preamble?
No, this isn't preamble. It's I'm literally trying to understand, because I can't, in my mind, I can't square.
You can't wrap your head around it?
Saying. Yeah, I can't wrap it. It seems to be logically inconsistent to say that all life has.
How is it logically inconsistent?
And I've explained this to you before.
Yeah, you said that even if all those good things happen and society has these improved outcomes. Thank you for the subscription, Ricardo Meiji. Thank you. I appreciate that. Even if all of those good things happen and society has these improved outcomes, if you believe the sanctity of a human life has high priority, then why would any of those things matter? You would have to say a human life is not inherently valuable and worth protecting. I told you that that's a black and white fallacy and doesn't actually address my argument.
Yeah, but I'm not understanding how is it that you can say, right, that all life is valuable and worthy of protection?
Because I look at things in every individual among an entire society. That's what I think of. And I look at the overall outcome and realize that, it actually turns out society is a lot better off when people get to choose when they have children.
Right, and that's fine. And you can say that. You can have a utilitarian perspective on this. What I'm saying is, preceding that with all life is inherently valuable is not logically consistent with that take. It's just not.
I feel like it is, but okay.
So
we just have to agree to disagree there. Do you got anything else?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think this is an important distinction. I agree with you that that abortion is something that should be allowed legally. I'm pro-abortion, but the reason that I'm pro-abortion is not that I believe in the sanctity of human life.
Why are you? Right? Why do you believe in abortion then?
I believe in abortion because of all the reasons that you described. That generally speaking, that the outcomes for society is probably overall better than it would be if you banned abortion and force people into back alley abortions and that kind of a thing. I don't believe that that abortion should be culturally normalized, but I do believe that society is better off with it being a legal option. But I wouldn't say that I don't. I think it's really inconsistent to say that human life has inherent value and then say that murder is okay. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Why are you calling it murder?
Well, because what
is the definition of murder to you?
I mean, do you know how biologists define when life begins when it comes to
unjustified
pregnancy?
Killing of a human being. That is what murder is. You're saying
Sure.
that abortion. See, here's the thing, right? Maybe help me square a peg into your round hole. Right. Maybe help me out with that. What about you're telling me that there ought to be abortion legally, as in it is justified, and then you are calling abortion murder. Help me out.
Yeah. So what my understanding of the definition of murder is not that it's unjustified. It's that it's extrajudicial. It's outside of the law, right?
No, that's not what murder is.
Okay, well, do you want to call it like homicide? Like, what do you want to refer to it as?
I will provide it right here, just so you have it for yourself. Hold on. Murder.
Yeah. No,
The unlawful,
definition of
premeditated
unlawful-
killing of one human being by another. Okay.
Yeah, this fits
you
exactly
just
with
said,
the definition.
Shut up. You said that
Bro.
the unlawful, right? You called it murder, but then you also said that it should be legal, which means it is lawful. So help me fit a square peg into your round hole.
Right. So if you believe in the conception, if you take the idea that all human life is inherently valuable, right, then it should be unlawful.
You're doing is pivoting and then bringing up the same thing that we were arguing about.
I'm using your own definition.
I'm asking you specifically. It would not have to do with the previous conversation. I am asking you specifically, if it is lawful, how is it unlawful?
Yeah, but I was using it with the definition of what you said before. You understand?
No, I don't. Murder, it is something you said. You said that abortion was murder. Did you not?
Yes.
Okay.
Under your framework.
The unlawful premeditated killing of one human being by another. You also said that abortion should be lawful. It should be allowed by law.
Yeah, under which case it would be justified homicide.
Okay, it is no longer, hold on. Homicide is another definition. You're just adding another thing. Obviously it's not murder, right?
Well, under your definition, it would be murder.
Is it murder? I'm not asking my definition. I'm asking you. Is it murder? Can you just not be disingenuous for once in your life? Just be honest. Say, I was inconsistent. Obviously, murder is unjustifiable. I should not call it unjustifiable if I believe that it ought be legal.
Are you asking for my definition?
I'm asking you, yes, because you said that it was murder, but also it should be legal. How does that work? That's not what murder is.
So let me just be clear. Under my definition of what should be legal, it would fall under justified homicide. Okay, it would not fall under your definition of murder.
What?
If you
Why are
value
you
all human
changing?
life.
Why are you walking away from the murder term? The problematic term I'm having is the term of murder. You are then superseding murder into homicide. We're stuck on murder. Stop saying homicide because you called it murder, not homicide. So stop goalpost shifting. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire and prove that you're wrong about this. Is abortion murder if it is lawful to have an abortion? Yes or no?
Yeah, under that definition, it would not be murder.
Thank you.
Because it would not be extra
Good
legal.
God. All right. So stop calling it murder. Great. Fabulous. Amazing. Now we can continue.
But it would be murder if you believe that
it would be murder if it was illegal. That's how it would be considered, because it would effectively be unjustified.
I understand the point you're trying to make, but I don't think you understand the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I've listened to you very carefully, and you handed me a black and white fallacy, and then you also handed me a goalpost shifting of the of trying to get rid of murder and make it homicide. I'm waiting for your point, though. I'm very, very interested in hearing your point. Very interested.
Great, I appreciate that. Thank you for being so charitable with me. My point was by referencing it as murder, right? That would be the necessary logical entailment of you describing it as all life is inherently valuable. Under that conception, it would of course have to be murder. It would have to be.
That doesn't follow.
This is what the reason why I
I can
joined the
sit there
conversation
and
to
say
begin with.
that life is inherently valuable, and it still be justified to terminate a fetus. That would make it not
Yes.
murder, and yet still justify the inherent value of human
But
life.
it would be murder because you're making a
No,
claim
because it's an
about the way.
unjustified killing of another individual. Saying that life is inherently valuable is not that's not a statement of law.
Right, but what you're saying is that it ought be the way the law is. That's what a logical entailment of that is.
No.
You would not possibly, it would not make any logical sense for you to
Well,
say
I think that we should
but would
protect
just
the.
wait for a second.
I
Just
do
wait for a
believe that
second.
there are laws that we ought to
just let
protect
me-
human life. Though, with that being said, I believe that the life of the mother who has to undergo the life-threatening procedure supersedes the fetus. Like, let me ask
Yes,
you.
I've
Let me
heard
ask you a question, right? Because I like to bring this up to people who are who seem to argue anti-abortion. I'm just curious how you would address it. Let's say that there is a burning building, and you only got enough time to pick one or the other. Okay, on one side of the building, you've got a tray of 100 human fetuses. And they're all like IVF babies. Every single one of these are going to go into a mother. And then the other one is a literal baby, like a fully born baby. And you got to choose which one you pick.
Yeah, so a couple of things. One is, and I'll address the hypothetical. One thing is, I'm at no point was I arguing actually against abortion, right? I'm actually pro-abortion, so I'm not really sure
Well, I'm
exactly.
curious which one you would pick, right?
Sure, totally. I would have no problem picking the baby, but that would be pretty easy for me.
Great. Me too. That zero question. Fabulous.
Yeah. So, yep. The reason why I wanted to talk to you was that it seemed like it was inconsistent to me to say on one side, it seems
I
like
can
the
have the
reasonable thing.
sanctity of human life, while also realizing that the mother's life is intrinsically would be of higher value than that of the fetus. The mother can always try again, but you can't get another mother.
follow.
Like if the mother dies, or if the mother undergoes or has like some sort of life-threatening condition, or something happens to them, then you can't really get that mother back. You can always make another fetus.
Yeah, no, this isn't even under contention, right? Like one of the first things that I said was that if the mother's life is at risk, that if you can believe in the sanctity of life and still believe that the mother should be preferred, right? And that doesn't go against. I literally said that earlier, right? I think the issue, it's a threshold question, right? And if you can answer
why would you call it
specifically,
it sounds to me like, I'm just going to be honest with you, the way that you're coming off is, and this is just me just trying to analyze your thought process or try to analyze the way that you're kind of approaching this. I think like when someone goes off and just unequivocally says they're murder, I think you're likely lying to me when you think that you're okay with abortion. I think you're doing it to be disingenuous. I'll be honest.
I'm honestly not. Like, I understand that you might think that.
So why are you okay with abortion if you call it murder?
Yeah, because I don't believe in the sanctity of human life.
You don't believe in the sanctity of human life? Okay. So
Yeah, like at all, categorically.
So like you would like to murder people?
No, that doesn't follow logically from what I just said.
I know that doesn't follow logically. That's why I asked you.
Right, but yeah, so no.
What?
It doesn't logically follow that you would want to kill people if you don't believe in the sanctity of human life.
I didn't ask if it was if it logically follows. I just asked you, would you kill people for fun?
No, I'm not a psychopath.
Okay, cool, sick, based. So if you would not kill people for fun, why? If you don't believe in the sanctity of human life, then why not?
Like, why? Because I have better things to do with my time.
Okay.
Like,
So
why would I
what's your
take my
favorite
time
thing to do?
My favorite thing to do? I like to talk with you first, Amender.
Okay. So because you would rather talk to me, that is why you don't murder?
No, that's not what? That doesn't even make sense from
That
what I said.
literally, that one actually does entail. That one does entail. So you just said the reason why you do not murder. Hold on, let me write it down. The reason why you do not murder is because you have better things to do.
Yeah.
And I asked, what is the favorite thing that you like to do? And you said, my favorite thing to do is talk to you, First Amender. So the better thing to do is talking with me. Okay. Yep. So you're saying that the reason why you do not murder is to talk with me.
No, that doesn't even logically follow.
Wait, that does, Daniel, am I crazy?
No, that is literally logically entailed.
No, I can explain why it doesn't make sense. You seem
Bro,
very
the
confident.
pressure is on, guys. If I don't talk to this person, they're going to go around and start killing people.
Yeah, that doesn't logically follow. So did I say
What?
I have a better thing to do, or I have better things to do? Did I say
All right.
plural?
Give me a list of things.
Yeah. So the list of
me a
things would
list.
involve every other thing
doesn't matter.
other
You're
than
not doing
killing.
all
Other
of them
than
at the same
murder,
time, though.
you just feel better. Like it comes down to, it would make you feel like, I just want to be clear, right? You have no like concept of like empathy or
Where
like,
are you getting this from? Where are you picking this up from?
well, because
Where are you
like
pulling this out of the air from?
you're establishing like kind of like the reason why you don't kill people is because of your selfish interest of like, I'm bored and I want
No, it doesn't have to
I
be
would
selfish.
rather do other things than kill people. And
First of all,
and I
that's
think
a straw man-
genuinely
that's a straw man
speaking,
fallacy,
like
bro.
well, let me help you out. I think genuinely speaking, there is probably a level of life that you do appreciate and do consider entailed as valuable.
I mean, sure, but not because it's human life.
Well, what would it be then? What makes life valuable to you?
Yeah, so what makes, for example, the people in my family valuable, and the people in my extended family valuable, and the people in my community valuable, and the people, in the concentric circles outward that I'm willing to invest my time and energy in, is that I have a relationship with them, right? And this is like quite obvious with regards to how you economically spend your time and money and resources, right? You invest in the things that you care about. I could absolutely right now, if I felt like it, I could probably go save the life of somebody halfway around the world, right? But I really have no interest in doing that, right? And neither do you. You're here talking to me, and you could be going and doing that too. So you're on the same boat, buddy.
Okay, so like what it sounds to me is like you basically value people that are within your tribe. Is that about correct?
Well, I value people in my tribe more than neighboring tribes, and then I value those people, less than people who are much farther away. And to the extent, I wouldn't say that I care about any particular person so little that that if it took me 1 second to save like a bunch of people's lives, I wouldn't do it. Like I wouldn't make that claim, right? Because it's a rather contrived example, but like I'm really not going to go out of my way to help people that are not in or somehow connected to me.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you have a pride in your ethnic origin?
Do I have pride in my ethnic origin? I mean, a little bit, not massively.
Do you wish to have a nation maintained based on your ethnic origin?
No.
Okay. That's good because
But nice shot, nice guess though.
because like it sounded very close to that. And I found that strange.
Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, I don't have any other questions for you. I really don't. I don't. But get this, right? Would you believe this? We have right now 138 people simultaneously listening on
Great.
YouTube. Isn't that wild? Anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's good talking to you, Hack the Planet. Did you have anything else for me?
Nope. I appreciate
Fair
you.
enough.
I mean, I feel like you were more or less good faith. I feel like we could have been a little bit better, but I do appreciate you.
Fair enough. I appreciate you too. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. I'm going to unlock the phones and then it's going to be like a C.
You know what I like the most about this conversation, Amanda?
What?
The most I liked it when he actually criticized your stance for being utilitarian. And then when you asked him why he believes in abortion, he gave a utilitarian answer.
Yeah. By the way, the
It was
phones are
literally
open.
the same
You can
as
call
your
in.
answer.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is interesting. Like, for me, like, I possess a... I believe that life is inherently valuable and that it's kind of rare. It's rare. Like, life is kind of cool. Experiencing stuff, being the universe, experiencing itself. That's cool. I think that's interesting. Anyway, we're getting a phone call. Let's go ahead and answer that phone. You're on the line with First Amender. How you doing?
How's it going, man? I'm kind of came across your YouTube stream.
Sick. What do you want to debate about?
Oh no, it just says debating a liberal. What's your stance in it? I need to figure that out first.
My stance?
Yes,
Stance
are
on
you considered
what?
a liberal or conservative?
Oh, I'm a liberal. I'm a hardcore, bona fide. You would not believe, like, full blown soy boy, social justice warrior, liberal, bro. Liberal with a capital L, liberal.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, I'm not like hating or nothing. We need to have this kind of conversations, and at least you're willing to open it up.
I agree with you. Yeah, it is very important. I think that the United States has become more and more hateful over time. And I think we're kind of forgetting, I suppose, the origins of the United States and why it's a good thing to have a basic liberal philosophy as a grounding framework.
I don't know about all that. I mean, I believe there might be some liberal ideas that are okay, but as far as the idea of liberalism, that's gone to the wolves. Y'all
You
let
think?
too many extremists in there.
Like what?
So, like what?
Like what?
Let me think. Okay, immigration, I guess, since that's the big one that everybody's pivoted to from the whole gay pride thing. We have
Okay.
laws, do we not?
Sorry, repeat that.
I mean,
You said we have
we have
laws.
laws.
We do have
yes, we have
laws.
laws, do we not?
We do have laws.
And you believe
What?
that
By
there
the way,
are
what
laws
can I call
for
you?
coming
Can I?
in.
What can I call you? By the way,
I don't know, the dude. How's that? The dude.
the dude.
The dude.
All right, the
I'm gonna
dude.
go with some Big Lebowski there.
All right.
But
So you're referring. So
I mean-
specifically regarding immigration, you're saying that there's too many immigrants. Is that your concern?
no. I have no problem with anybody that wants to come in the front door and actually go through a due process. The problem is when you kick in the back door, that's the problem. And that's what illegal immigration is. It really discredits all the people that are actually coming here legally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. If you're waiting in line at a restaurant, you got a reservation
Mm-hmm.
for 8 o'clock. It's
Yeah.
8:15. You're waiting in line,
Yeah.
and you just see everybody walking in the front door, getting the table, sitting down, eating. Wouldn't
Yep.
you kind of mad?
I sure would.
And I mean, look at all the people that do that legally.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think they're kind of mad at all these people that come here illegally?
Yeah. Would you believe that people who enter into the country, they often do so legally and then overstay their visas?
Well, see, that's also another thing. If I come into your house and you allow me in and you tell me it's time to go and I don't leave, isn't that a problem?
Well, let's up the ante a little bit. All right.
Okay.
Let's say you live in a small town and it's in the Midwest, and there's only one grocery store, and you can't really farm anything because the ground is blighted. You just really can't grow anything. Seeds, no seeds. You can't grow crap. And there's only one grocery store. And within the week, there's now a pothole. You can't get into the grocery store. But you could probably avoid the pothole. I mean, if you did it like without a car. There's no issue with avoiding the pothole, right?
Okay.
Right? You're able to do that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, the mayor decided that they're going to close up the grocery store a little bit more. They're going to just start adding some roadblocks, and they're now closing off the sidewalks. Now you can't get to the grocery store, but you might be able to, if you jump the fence, you could probably get through and get to your grocery store because you need to eat, right? Got to eat, right?
I could always go to another grocery store.
No, I'm saying this is the only grocery store. You're in like some little town in the Midwest. There's just no other way. It's not feasible. The nearest grocery store is over 4 hours one way.
I know those type of people. Mm-hmm. Those are my people that have to drive 20, 30, 40, 50 to go anywhere. So your problem really isn't relating to me.
Okay.
I mean, your analogy here just doesn't seem to work.
Okay. Well, let me help you out. I'm saying that if you make it harder and harder to get in, then what happens is inevitably people start skirting the rules. That's usually what happens. It's not technically legal for you to say jump over the fence to access the grocery store. That could be considered, okay, well, we're going to address you for criminal trespassing. The solution to the grocery store is to fix the freaking pothole, right? So that way people can just access the grocery store like normal. In the United States, for decades and decades, we've been creating more and more legislation that makes it harder and harder to become a citizen of the United States. Because it's becoming harder and harder to become a citizen of the United States, this ultimately results in there being an X amount of people that end up overstaying their visas, or they end up going through path of least resistance, such as asylum seeking. And my argument is, let's make it to where any regular person can understand to become a citizen of the United States, provided that they are not committing any violent crimes in their home country, and they don't have any communicable diseases, and they're not on the OFAC list and not on the no-fly list. Huh? What do you think?
That's the idea of coming in legally. That's where you get vetted at. That's how they find out that whole process.
So let's have the big, beautiful border. Let's have our big, beautiful wall, and then a valid pathway to amnesty. That's what you'd be okay with that?
As far as amnesty goes, you look at the UN thing on there. They say first go to a neighboring country. They're not going to a neighboring country.
Is Mexico not a neighboring country?
Is Venezuela a neighboring country?
No, but is Mexico a neighboring country?
Is Guatemala a neighboring country?
Nope.
Is China a neighboring country?
You got to answer my question. Obviously, Mexico's a neighboring country, right?
Oh, no, I get you there. And according to
okay, and
UN
most
law,
people who are coming into the border are Mexicans.
No, they're not.
Oh, most of them are.
That's where you're wrong.
The demographics, I think it's over 60% are Mexican. But yes, I'm aware that there are Pakistanis, there are Syrians, there are Nigerians, there are also Guatemalans and Venezuelans. I agree with you, yes. But I mean, to me, again, like this is irrelevant. Like I don't like look at like the different kinds of country and say, okay, one's more valuable, one's less valuable. I look at them as like, okay, each one of those people are individuals that we should take seriously and have a valid pathway to citizenship. So there's no necessary need to become an illegal immigrant.
I'm not trying to say that one's more valuable than the other. I'm just trying to say that there is a process, international laws and our own laws. And when those are skipped because of whatever reason,
Well, I'm
there's
saying
problems.
because it was made harder to become a citizen of the United States, and we're like wondering, why are there so many illegal immigrants now? Well, yeah, the Republicans
can you name
decided
another border
to
that just lets
pass
you-
the Republicans decided to pass laws fundamentally to make it harder and harder to become a citizen of the United States. And wow, what do you know? Lo and behold, there's a lot more illegal immigrants because it turns out people actually want a better life for themselves. Wow, amazing. Hot take.
I mean, if you want anything good, it's hard. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I agree with you.
It's going to be hard to
just
do.
to become a citizen of the United States. I think you're holding it up on a pedestal like too much. I think we should just have a valid pathway to citizenship, so that way people don't have to come into the country illegally and then end up getting taken advantage of by our system because of the fact of their citizenship status. I think it's wrong.
I'm just saying the valid pathway starts going at the front door.
Yeah, again, you're not addressing.
Go through the front door
you're not
and
addressing
do any
what
of that paperwork.
You're not addressing what I said. You're
The
not
whole
addressing
idea
my point.
of the I did address it.
No,
You're saying it's
there should be a valid pathway to. The reason
here.
why people aren't going through the front door is the fact that it's super hard to get through. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Address
yes,
that.
and as I said, if you want
we designed a
anything that's good or
broken
great,
system.
it's hard to achieve.
Yeah, well, but we're not Yale, right? We're the United States. We have hundreds of millions of people here in the United States. I agree with you, but we're not talking about the highest echelon country ever. Okay, we're just talking about the United States. Why not stop taking advantage of these people? Why not provide them a valid pathway to citizenship that a regular person can understand? We have lawyers right now that assist people with the immigration process, and even they get things wrong. That's how complex it is. It is actually insane the level of complexity is required.
To come to the front door.
I'm saying that people will
come
come through the front door. I'm saying people will come through the front door if it's easy.
Nothing is easy.
Oh my God, dude.
Nothing is ever easy.
Just like how it couldn't be easy to get into the grocery store in my example. That was my point. You make it hard, people end up finding ways around it because they're going to find a way in order to make their life better. That's how that works. Or the ones that
do stuff legally actually go somewhere else and do it legally.
Okay.
That's just it.
I mean, okay. For you, your moral sense of justice comes from legality. My moral sense of justice comes from morality. That's the difference, right? I don't look at these as like, oh, these are terrible people because they're skirting the rules. I'm saying that they're skirting the rules because we made terrible rules.
Okay, so based on your idea of morality, let me come up with a different scenario here. You heard about the Alaskan Avenger?
The Alaskan Avenger? No.
Yes, have you heard? Okay, this is a convicted murderer who got a hold of the, let me see here, the Playground Extraction Specialist list, if you understand what I mean. And he went through...
A pedophile?
And he went through and... Huh?
Are they a pedophile? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And he went through with this list, and he was doing his moral obligation, I believe, and deleting their subscription to Life.
Okay.
Okay. Now, morality is all objective. You know, your morality is different from my morality.
Are we really going to have the discussion to objective and subjective morality because you believe in God and therefore it's unchanging, even though God changes it all the time based on interpretation?
I did not say that at all. I bring religion into this not one bit.
I don't know why people do this. I'm asking you, is this what you are referring to? I didn't say that's what you're referring to. I asked specifically, is this what you are referring to?
On a religious aspect of morality?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So the concept of subjective versus
I'm
objective
just
morality
claiming
is
that
not a
my morality would be different than yours. Because I said nothing about religion
whatsoever. Where do you get your morality?
Where do I get my morality? I mean, I believe diddling kids is wrong.
You believe that what?
I mean, I believe messing with kids like that is wrong.
I agree with you. I'm not asking whether or not pedophilia is wrong. We all know it's wrong. I'm saying, where do you get your morality? I use secular humanism.
What is the idea of right and wrong?
I use secular humanism. What do you do?
What do I do? What do you mean?
Where does your morality come from? Mine is secular humanism.
My morality comes from the knowledge of right and wrong.
You just have like an intrinsic knowledge of right and wrong, and you assume that something is right and wrong because it feels good?
Well, like we came to a common thing here of pedophilia is wrong. What?
I agree
under
with
what
you,
morality?
But I'm asking where you get that.
Under what morality do you say it's wrong? What guides your morality on that?
I use secular humanism. I like to reduce human suffering. I believe that human life is valuable, and that people ought to live good lives so that way they can live their life as they see fit.
Well, see, I guess I don't look at it so much like that. I look at it as humans are all animals. Everything on this planet is an animal.
I agree with you. They're animals. Yeah.
Okay. So, you just got to look at it as we have certain primal instincts that we will follow regardless. Regardless of law or anything like that,
I think to some extent I agree with you there. Sure.
I mean, if I was to do something to one of your family members, you would have a bit of rage and want to possibly come back at me in the same fashion. You might not do it, but that feeling is there, and that's part of your own human instinct.
I mean, like honestly, like me personally, like if you did something to my family, I would probably want to seek justice through the justice system. I would not become a vigilante, if that's what you're implying.
There's always that idea of passion. You come into a room and you see something.
I would be intensely sad. I would not have a great deal of passion to the point where I would go to you and kill you. I just don't have that.
I mean, okay. Some people have it, some people don't.
Yeah,
but at the same time and point, I look at it as a very simple, basic emotion. You see something happen to somebody you know that's very close to you and loved, and you want to respond accordingly.
Okay.
Some people believe that laws aren't going to take care of that.
Ninglendo, just subscribe. Thank you for the subscription, Ninglendo.
But no. I just came across your stream and thought it was interesting, though. I like the idea of what you're doing.
Yeah,
I might not agree with you, but that's the whole idea.
We're
not all supposed to agree, but
fair enough.
Maybe come down to a good, fair, sensible idea.
I think it would be important regarding like illegal immigrants. I don't believe that what is moral is what is legal. I mean, certainly it can align, like something that is legal can be also moral. But I have to ask, okay, well, why is that law there? Is there a particular reason? Is it maintaining some sort of order that allows things to be more peaceful? Does it propagate? Does it push down a group of people and causes them to not be able to contribute to society? And I think that our current laws regarding immigration are way out of whack. Most countries do not act this way when it comes to becoming an immigrant of a country. It's usually a pretty straightforward process that a regular person can understand.
Can I stop you right there?
And in the United States, I just think it's too convoluted, and it just causes illegal immigrants. And so I go, why is it convoluted? And I believe that it's rooted in xenophobia and makes life worse.
I have a question. If you cross an Iranian border illegally, what's going to happen to you?
I think you're probably going to die.
What happens? So, there's many countries out there that straight kill you when you cross the border.
Fair enough, but I don't look at Iran as my avatar of morality. I probably would look at a country that's probably more secular, probably more moral, right?
No, I'm not. You're looking at it as an idea of morality. I'm looking at it as an idea of what would they do to us.
Okay, but I don't care what they're going to do to us. Only I can act upon my own actions, not force other countries to act a specific way.
Look at, because that is one main reason why a lot of states that have open carry guns, things like that, people go, I'm not going to mess with that person because I know they could probably shoot me.
That causes all sorts of death.
Oh no, you're right, but at the same time and point, if you know that person could be armed, would you think twice about messing with them?
I think they're a greater risk to themselves and a greater risk to other people around them. I would not mess with them.
That's all. Exactly, because they could possibly harm you.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And I live in Florida, and people are crazy.
Just like I said with
People are unironically
People are crazy
insane
in
and out
general.
of
It
their
doesn't
mind.
matter where they're
and,
from. People are
a lot of
crazy
them are
because
method
even if you look at-
addicted, and they're kind of crazy. Yeah.
That's just people
Brian
in general.
McGangdy, McTangay. I don't know how to say that. I'm so sorry. Just subscribe. Thank you very much. Sorry about that.
I mean, that's just people in general, though. The world
No.
is crazy.
No, I mean, I think like if we look at like the Second Amendment, it specifically says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and continue to talk about that a well-regulated militia will not have their right to infringement not be superseded.
Okay, so
and so it's like
under the
when
idea of
in
a well-regulated
situation-
militia, under the idea of a well-regulated militia, then, if we did like other countries and made our, fresh out of high school, you got 2 years worth of service, mandatory, everybody. Would that be well-trained?
Yeah, I mean, that could be, sure.
So, it's basically saying everybody now has to have mandatory military service.
No, I don't agree with that.
But you would be giving out, but the government would be handing out free training.
I just think that I think like the problem with like mandatory military service is that it puts a lot of emphasis, I suppose, into like kind of like a weird nationalism. It has like a bit of like fascistic vibes, and I don't like it. I don't think it's a good scenario. I would just have regulations on guns to ensure that people don't harm others. Right. I think like red flag laws are really important.
Well, I mean, I think putting everybody in a mandatory 2-year service would give you that training you want.
I'm sure it could. I mean, like I could put everybody, in chains, right, and whip them when they do something wrong with a gun, and I have a gun like right in front of them. I'm sure I could do that, but I would have problems regarding like the individual freedoms of those people, and I would have problems with the humanitarian issue, and also consider that maybe there's more effective ways of going about this.
I like how you took it to a dystopian future there, because
I just gave an example. I said I'm sure that there's many ways to skin a cat, but there's probably better ways to skin a cat, right?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. But the easiest way is normally just put the knife in and cut the skin off. I mean, there's not a whole bunch of ways to do that.
Well, I mean, I think like red flag laws are really important.
No, that's a straight infringement.
No,
because now
again, it's a well-regulated militia. It's like I think if somebody is like, say for example, suicidal. No, I think like if somebody is suicidal, like they really shouldn't be owning a gun. Like I don't. Like I think if somebody is like a nervous schizophrenic, I don't think they should be owning a gun. I think if you have children in severe bipolar disorder, I don't believe you should be owning a gun. I think if you have if there's any psychological disorder that possesses a violent tendency, I don't believe you should be owning a gun. I think that needs to be taken away from you by the state. Yep. I think if you have children, I think that gun has to be locked away. I think by law it must be locked away. Yep.
See, and that's why most liberals don't have guns. Unfortunately, liberals self-diagnose themselves as having some kind of mental disorder.
I would imagine that liberals, or at least for me, I understand that by having a gun, the risk of getting shot with that same gun is very, very high. And it's actually more common than you think, especially like if you have a spouse. These things happen. I mean, the domestic violence abuses happen. And I just think it's, while I would trust my wife or whatever, or maybe other people, if somebody who has bad intentions gets a hold of that gun, I'm getting shot with that gun, as well as accidental discharges if a gun is improperly handled. I mean, I have heard, like, if you well train yourself, you will not mistreat the gun, but I have seen people that have 20 plus years of experience and they end up shooting somebody or shooting themselves. Did you see that one video? Do you have my stream up by any chance?
Or is it the one where you playing Diablo?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Actually, I'm not looking at it right now. I'm doing that cool phone thing of wandering around the house the whole time. You know.
No problem. Okay, so it's
Let's
about
see where I end up.
Yeah, I mean it's about 12 seconds long, and I just want to like show you just as an example, right? So this is an example of like a gun trainer, and I'm gonna show you right here. You may want to mute it though. Just mute it because I can hear it through the phone.
Yeah, no, I just did that.
Fair enough. Okay, so it's about 12 seconds behind. So I apologize for that. I'll give you 12 seconds to catch up. But I'm just going to show the audience so they can see it, and then you'll see it shortly after. We have a gentleman who appears to be instructing
so both your hands are going
how to shoot a gun. Look at this.
You're going to lock out both your arms. You're going to push with your
Hold
right.
on, we're still trying to catch up.
Focus on that front
YouTube. Oh, wait a
minute.
minute. There's my problem. I'm off on you longer. There we go. I see it right now.
Did you mean to do that? Yeah.
So holding the gun.
All right, so they're holding the gun, and then they cock it back, and they say, if you can actually, single-handed cock it back, and then he accidentally fires the gun, and that's a gun instructor doing that. I'm saying like misfires, right? Embers flame. I think people are human. People make natural mistakes. Sometimes they don't make the best decision in the moment, right? I'm not saying that they couldn't be very well trained or that it doesn't reduce the possibility of harming yourself with a gun. I just think that these are risks that I like to consider. I'll be honest though with you. I think now that I'm like streaming, I'm probably going to end up buying a gun for my own safety.
I mean, I will give you this much, dude. I do not believe in guns myself, but I understand their purpose, and that doesn't mean that I shouldn't have one. Okay, I mean, no, I'm not.
Listen, if you're a well-regulated militia, go for it. I just think that we need red flag laws, and it's not an infringement to have a red flag law, right? I think that's incorrect.
That's where I believe you're wrong at, because for somebody just to say word of mouth and then them come in and take your gun, that's like you could do that with any crime if you consider it. I could say somebody's selling drugs and they're a lawyer and they don't have anything to do with drugs, but should the DEA go in there kicking their door and raid them? I could say that this guy murdered a whole bunch of people and buried them in his backyard. Could you repeat that?
I'm so sorry. I was thinking of another interesting hypothetical. So, but can you repeat what you were saying?
The idea of your red flag laws that could be put on any law based on word of mouth, because that's what red flag laws are based on, is word of mouth. Okay, so I mean, just because you say that I'm suicidal or homicidal or whatever, the police should come in with no warrant and take my weapons. I mean, I could say that you could say the same thing about drugs or anything else. You could say this person's selling drugs. Should the DEA kick in their door and raid their house? You could say that this guy's
I'm
got
sure
a whole
that
bunch
there's
of
reasonable.
bodies
I
buried in his
think like
backyard.
probably a professional is necessary, like a psychologist or whatever. I think it's important to have checks and balances. I mean, if your problem with red flag laws is not having checks and balances, then you'll find that you and I are in perfect agreement.
See, that's where. Okay, I'm gonna be straight with you, dude. I'm a convicted felon. I don't have a gun. I really wish I could have one. But if you consider it and think about it, who carries most guns in gun crime? It's the convicted felon.
Well,
most of your gun crime is done by people that aren't supposed to have guns to begin with.
Now, hold on.
Okay.
I'm not going to even ask you what you're a convicted felon for. I don't think it's appropriate.
I'll be straight with you, because I don't really care. We're at a day and age where what my crime was, nobody cares about. I got busted with some weed.
Okay.
Nobody cares about no weed.
Well,
so
let me ask you this, right? I mean, I think, right, if you wanted to be logically consistent, you should follow the rules and go through the front door.
No. I'm not disagreeing with you whatsoever. Like I said, I don't own any firearms. I'm not allowed to. If I could go through a legal process of doing it, I would.
There is a legal process to doing that. You can request your local governor for a pardon.
Oh, no, right. You're right. No, I can actually not a pardon since it's a state felony. All I have to do is get an expunged.
Yeah.
It takes a little money and time, and unfortunately, it's not a big priority on my list.
Yeah, go through the
You know
front
what I
door.
mean?
You know?
No, right, exactly. When I decide to actually go and get that expunged, then I will consider getting a weapon. But at the same time and point, my thing is, due to the wording of the Second Amendment, convicted felons should not have their gun rights taken.
I mean,
Okay.
for
I know you.
well, no, they should. I believe that a convicted, like a violent, like if there's a violent felon, 100%, you should never have access to a gun for the rest of your life.
Specify.
That's it.
They don't. That's just it, though. They don't specify. So
Fair,
since they don't
fair enough,
specify,
fair enough,
we'll just
right?
call it
And so,
felon.
like, if somebody is becoming a felon for, like, say, a non-violent crime, and you know, like your weed, for example, if you had like too much weed, I mean, me personally, you're gonna find that I argue against, you know, the drug war. I think that we need to look at it in terms of rehabilitation. And so you would actually not even be a victim in my society of tons and tons of red flag laws, because you would likely be able to own a gun. Right. Cause I would just have legal weed.
Your idea, even then in your idea of the drug war, I think they all should be regulated differently and taken into different aspects.
Oh yeah,
Cocaine,
no, for sure. Completely,
heroin,
yeah. Heroin
like
is not
that.
the
Yes,
same
those
as
should-
weed. Yeah. No, I agree
Exactly.
with you.
Those should all be illegal, no problem.
Yep.
You know, use them only for
Well,
medical research.
I don't. So, like, while I believe that they ought be illegal, I just think that we need to take a rehabilitative approach on it. I think, like, currently what we're going through right now is that it causes a lot of people to go to jail for nonviolent offenses. And I think it creates a lot of fatherless homes, and I think it causes a lot of it increases crime. I think it just makes
Let me
life
let you
worse
know,
for
we
a
are
lot
in
of people.
agreement that the drug war was a total failure.
Fair
the
enough.
drug war is a total failure. Okay. I mean, even when you look at it as far as our own government with the CIA bringing cocaine in back in the 70s and 80s. Actually, I know a few guys that were down in Costa Rica bringing the cocaine back
Wow.
by our own federal government.
Hello,
I mean,
Nikki.
how-
Just
during-
subscribed. I
during-
appreciate you. Thank you very much for the subscription.
Think about it, during Bush era when we were in Afghanistan and doing the whole weapons are everywhere bullshit, what were they doing? Protecting poppy fields.
Yeah, right.
So,
True.
you know,
True.
our government has an interest.
I mean, the
illegal
reason why,
drugs.
to be fair, the reason why they were protecting poppy fields is because they knew that they got their money that way, so they were going to stop the open heroin dens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
It's not like that
the
they.
government knew that there was some kind of source for them there of income,
Yeah.
but yet they're willing to say that anybody using this source of income is going to go to jail.
Well, I mean, no, they would just kill people that approach the poppy fields in that instance.
Well, right, but I'm just saying, like, our own government will protect a source of income for them, but over here, if
They
we
didn't
try to
protect
use
the
that
source of income. They took the source of income. They're like, you can't use this.
regardless, I'm just saying, our government looks at that as an illegal substance. They'll protect it over there, fucking ship it in over here. But if we use it over here,
I don't know
we
if
get
we.
locked up.
I don't know if they shipped it over there. I think they just like took it over and didn't let the Taliban make money off of poppy fields.
But I mean, but still, I'm just saying, they know it's an illegal substance for us, and yet they'll protect it. But if we use it, we get locked up. And I mean, that's just bollocks. You know, that's just bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to
think-
live in a society where we don't have to go through with that. But yeah, sure, you know.
But unfortunately, greed is a thing, and that's part of the human nature.
It is true. It's true.
Now, what is
See,
your
you
take
agree
on all
more
these
with a
no king
liberal
protests?
than you think. See?
I mean, what is your idea of these no king protests? Because I think they're silly.
I went to the No Kings protest. I thought it was great. I loved it.
Okay.
Lots
Well,
of
then-
LGBTQ individuals. You know, and I think there's a
Here's
lot
a
of people that
simple
are really
basic
upset
notion.
about the president. And to be fair, though, I think it's fair to say that I would have liked it more if they showed up to the freaking ballot box. Because I promise you, a lot of these people did not show up. Less people voted this last election than the previous two. And so I'm honestly genuinely
well-
upset at these protesters. They're willing to show up to a protest and be anti-Trump, but they didn't want to vote Kamala because, I don't know, like Gaza or whatever.
Here's a question. Y'all are calling Trump a king. Okay. Are kings elected?
Are kings elected?
Have primaries?
No, they are. That is correct. They are not elected.
Did the Democrats have a primary election, or did they just install Kamala to be their candidate?
Yeah, they just instilled Kamala to be their candidate because that is the incumbent.
That's where I look at these protests going are retarded.
No, it's an incumbent. That's how it works with incumbents. You don't have a vote for an incumbent.
No, they could have had a primary.
They could have. But it is not typical to vote a primary and an incumbent. They only had like a month to react. So
they could have had a last minute primary at the Democratic National Convention.
I mean, again, I gave you like the shoulda, coulda, woulda, and like within the Democratic Party, they picked Kamala because it's the incumbent to Joe Biden. That's why. Okay, that's the reason.
Okay. But at the same time and point, they could have had a primary and they did install Kamala.
Again, there's not enough time for a primary. They had less than a month. They had a month.
That's their problem. They set
okay,
that up
so
the wrong
they had
way.
to make a decision, and that was the decision they made. Again, it's a question of shoulda, coulda, woulda, and it's like I mean, it makes sense. I mean, did they make mistakes? Yeah, sure. But it's like if I had to pick, like, I don't know, Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. I mean, I got news for you, man. If Kamala Harris got replaced with a dead dog that's literally just like flies on the ground and just like rotting on the ground, I would probably pick dead dog. Dead dog 2024.
Why?
Well, because I think Trump is an idiot. I don't think he knows what he's doing. No. I think he's very reactionary in his policies, and I think that he has a long history of showing exactly this. But because nobody reads in the United States, nobody actually knew this, and then they're all of a sudden surprised when they're seeing him react in a reactionary way in 2025.
Now,
and everyone's all surprised.
Without making it about Trump. Can you tell me why without making it about Trump?
Why what?
Why you would vote for a dead dog over?
Well, okay. So the difference is that if you have somebody who has no idea what they're doing, and they're making life worse for people, they end up signing rules into legislation that ultimately makes life worse. But you know what's the difference between that and dead dog? Dead dog just going to veto everything. Do you know why? Because dead dog can't sign anything. So it's literally just going to be 4 years of nothing, as opposed to the 4 years of the something that's going on. Yeah. Dead dog 2024.
Honestly, I'd rather have something go on. I'd rather have something than nothing.
Well, if that, like, let me ask you this, right? Let's say if I handed you, like, it's dinner time and I handed you a plate of feces and I said, all right, time to eat. And then you go, I'm not going to eat feces. What would you rather have, feces or nothing?
That is actually a bad analogy because what I asked you was why you would vote the dog over Kamala.
Yeah, I told you that the dog would be able to vote in nothing, and then we have Donald Trump who would vote in crap. Awful things that makes life worse for people. Yeah. Yep.
I said the dog over Kamala.
Oh, dead dog over Kamala? I would pick Kamala because Kamala would be an effective president. I do. I believe she would have been an effective president.
You know, there was that line that she used on The View that really, really put a nail in her coffin. You know that, right?
I do.
Okay, so when she
said that she would have nothing different from Biden. Honestly, I didn't even think Biden did a bad job. I honestly thought he did a good job.
When inflation shot up the way it did. Now, hold up.
Inflation shot up the way it did because of COVID. And by the way, inflation went up during Trump.
I was going to bring that into play. I was going to bring that into play. Hold on. Let me explain that.
I don't know why I look blue
inflation is going to go up due to the fact of nobody is at work and everybody had a whole bunch of money. When
Yeah.
you have no supply and high
That's
demand,
COVID.
yes, you are going to have inflation.
Yeah, it's COVID.
So technically, if you do want to look at it, Biden, it didn't matter if Biden was president or Trump was president.
Yeah,
They would have had to
COVID.
deal with that.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. It would have been high no matter what president you picked. And just so you know,
The
inflation
question
was
is-
already up under Trump. Like, I don't know, I don't know
Exactly.
what
No,
happened,
when
like
Trump took
collectively in
over-
everyone's like
When
brains.
Trump left, it was still at 2.1%. Actually,
Wrong.
I think it went down to almost
That's wrong.
1.4.
That's wrong. You don't know what you're
That's
talking
from
about.
the actual federal government, man.
Hold on.
But
Hold on.
now to say, here's
Hold
where
on.
it gets a little different. The idea of inflation shooting up as high as it did, it depends on whose policies would have did what.
Hold
Because
on.
we both agree
Can you
that
just give me a
inflation would have
second?
shot up.
Can you just give me a second?
Go ahead.
Hold on.
Understand, I'm not on stream. I'm still wandering around.
Okay. Let's take a look here.
So I'm guessing you're going to find those inflation numbers, correct?
Yep. Here it is. You can see what happened during the Trump administration. And then, I mean, to be fair, this would have happened. I'm not blaming inflation on Trump. I blame inflation on COVID. I just don't understand where people get that there was no inflation under Trump and Biden did all the inflation. I think what likely everyone is referring to would be the economic shock, which is where the consumer price index fell because of that inflation under Trump. I mean, you have to be honest, right? You're aware of the 10-to-1 ratio. Trump had given, 2 or 3 checks to every individual. So for every $1,000 that you received, that effectively was $10,000 into the economy. That for sure shot up inflation. And then you can see here that consumer price index fell under Biden. And the reason why was because of inflation under Trump. Yeah.
Because of inflation. But see, I'm sitting here looking at it. Unfortunately, it's not taking me all the way back past 21. But at the beginning of 21, inflation was down to like 1 point something. Okay.
Well, I mean, typically speaking,
So
when
you
it comes
can't-
to
I mean,
inflation, you
and
kind of
even
want a
during Trump's
typical inflation rate of
administration,
about
his
3%
inflation stayed
for a
about
healthy
the-
economy. And the reason why is to
Mhm.
account for a population growth.
Okay. Well, and even during Trump's term, his inflation stayed about relevantly the same.
It didn't.
went up. It went
I
down
just
a
gave
little
you the
bit, but
metrics
it did
that's not the
it
case.
like I said,
You're
unfortunately, I'm not
literally
looking at your screen right
literally
now.
misremembering. I would recommend checking out.
I'm literally misremembering.
Hold on.
Why am I only getting? I'm trying to look on my phone at these stats here.
So I can show
Okay.
you right here. Like
So
here's what I
even-
recommend. I actually read multiple books by Bob Woodward on the Trump administration. I highly recommend reading the following books: Fear and Rage by Bob Woodward. I think it's really, really important because then you can actually understand what happened at the moment as it happened. And just so you're aware who Bob Woodward is like your old school journalist type individual, where what they ended up doing is they were the journal, one of the journalists that uncovered the Watergate scandal. Ever since then, he basically had been famous and had gotten access to the White House itself, being able to write down what presidents are doing as they are doing them. And he would release a book on it. And he's been doing that for every president since Nixon. Pretty cool. And so you can actually read what Donald Trump did in Rage and Fear, and that's how I remember that that inflation went up under Trump, because that was a huge concern under the Trump administration, and it was only under Biden that they tried to do something about it. And to be fair, I don't even think the inflation going down had anything to do with Biden. It had more to do with the Federal Reserve. So it's not like I'm like shilling for Biden. I'm just telling you what the facts are.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'm telling you at least as far as what I know on my facts, and even living these facts, no, things hurt more under Biden heavily.
Why? I agree with you. They were going through COVID.
I believe they still would have hurt if Trump would have elected, but they wouldn't have hurt as bad.
Here's another one that I can show you here. Under Trump, this is what I'm saying. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Here's the unemployment rate since 2010, where it had been kind of dropping steadily over time over the Obama administration, and even more so under Trump. And then unemployment shot up. Well, the reason why unemployment shot up, obviously, it's not really Trump, it's COVID. COVID did that, right? This has nothing to do with Trump himself. I could swap Biden and Trump. The same thing would have happened. So I'm not blaming Trump for this. But again, like this idea that inflation was just fine at the end of Trump's presidency, it's just false.
Okay, as far as unemployment goes, look, that's COVID right there. That spike is straight COVID.
I'm aware. I'm saying that inflation was not good under Trump,
even during,
and inflation and the cause of inflation wasn't Biden or Trump. It was COVID. I'm glad that we both
even when you
agree.
Look at these unemployment numbers right here, they keep going down during Trump's administration.
Yeah, and then it goes up.
COVID.
And then it goes up.
And that's COVID.
Correct.
That's COVID. You can't blame COVID on nobody. It didn't matter who was president during COVID.
I agree. That's why I'm telling you that we can't sit there and blame Biden for inflation, nor can we blame Trump for inflation. It's not their policies that caused that.
No, I'm saying afterwards. It's the policies afterwards that lessen the blow. Okay, Biden.
Okay, so and you're telling me that Trump did all sorts of policies to help with inflation?
I mean, what policies was he able to pass after COVID?
He didn't pass any policies after COVID. He stopped being president.
Okay, so that's my point.
Yeah.
Biden was president. Biden's policies after COVID is the main reason why inflation probably got as high as it did. I'm not going to say that inflation would have gone up if Trump was president. But let's say it didn't hit 9%. Let's say it hit 7%. Let's say it hit 5%. It still would have gone up, but not as hard.
What if I told you?
That's what I'm trying to say.
What if I told you that the United States recovered faster than any other OECD country from inflation?
I'm not gonna. I can.
Did you know that?
I've already looked at those numbers and I've seen it, and that's just due to the idea of how we operate.
Well, I mean, again, to be fair, it has more to do with the fact that we have that we have the Federal Reserve. It has more to do with the Federal Reserve than it did have to do with Biden or Trump. But it is the fact that compared to other OECD countries, the United States fared better in dealing with inflation than all of these other OECD countries. Yeah.
But you need people to go back to work for that. And a lot of the red states
people did go back to work.
Everybody to go back to work.
People did go back to work.
Going back in the red states first.
What? The whole thing. Everybody went back to work. Like what?
Nobody went back to work at the same time.
I mean, if you're talking about like regarding lockdowns, I mean, that was like what, like a month or two? Like
Florida,
if that?
Let's say Florida opened up way before California did, allowing people to go back to work.
Yeah, at the cost of a lot of deaths. I'm in Florida. That was not good.
I'm sorry, that comes back to the human secularism of you.
I mean, if you want, like, in particular, like what I would...
Viruses happen. Unfortunately, this was a man-made virus, and that's happened with viruses.
You think that it's a man-made virus?
That's just the natural order of things. Come on now.
You think it's man-made? Despite the fact that almost every virologist will tell you that it's not man-made.
Tell me why it's not man-made.
Tell me. No. Here's what I want you to do, right?
Will say it's man-made.
What I want you to do is give me your hypothesis, how you know it's man-made, because I've gone through this evidence so much, and maybe I'm missing something. Help me out.
Okay. Understand, I'm just a simple country bumpkin here. But my hypothesis is that China does dabble in shit. China made a bioweapon.
Mm.
It got loose. They manufactured it to get loose somehow. Okay? And make it look very normal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Unfortunately, I also have the idea of we are human, and what have we been doing for hundreds of years? Figuring out better ways to kill each other. Okay? So it is not totally unplausible that China created a virus and released it upon the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there was military games that happened way before the Wuhan thing that people were already showing symptoms of, and they believe that that's possibly when the virus was released.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happened that the Wuhan wet market was very conveniently right there by the place.
Yeah. So I am going to tell you some information that I think that you will find this interesting, okay? Because I also had suspicions. Right. And I think it's really important to really, take these things into account and then consider, what is the facts of the matter. So people are aware. I'm showing a map here that is available where you can see the Huanan market and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Between these two locations, we have a river, which is that's the Yangtze River, that is between both the Hunan Seafood Market and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. If I assume a lab leak hypothesis, a likely conclusion of the hypothesis is when that they had done initial sampling of people who contracted positive of COVID-19. And by the way, within days, the WHO was already all over Wuhan. So we know that this is coming from credible sources, not from China. We couldn't trust China. The World Health Organization did surveys of this area, and they confirmed people who were positive or negative of COVID-19, and then they had tracked their location. If there is a Wuhan lab leak theory, then likely what I would see is probably an equal amount of amounts of people in positive with COVID-19 southeast of the Yangtze River and then northwest of the Yangtze River. That's likely what I would see if there was, for example, the Wuhan Institute of Virology lab leak hypothesis. Great, and so, but what is the results? The results were this. You could see that we have the Wuhan market, and then there's the lab leak hypothesis, where there are just tiny amounts on the southeast of the Yangtze River. And on the northwest, the Wuhan market, you can see that there is a huge concentration of people that are positive of COVID-19. Not everybody is crossing the Yangtze River, and there appears to be roughly the same amount of population dynamics that you can see on the southeast as you would on the northwest. This would be more vindicative that this is likely coming from an infected animal, because that's what they are selling at the Wuhan market. And what's even crazier is that they even were able to confirm what specific portion of the Wuhan market had the most amount of infection. And so it is the Wuhan lab leak hypothesis, while it is possible, it is improbable given this evidence. Does that make sense?
Actually, no. This is where I think you might be wrong.
Okay.
Down below on your little spot with the infected, known to human market, linked to the human market, there is one dot down there, and that's all you need is that one person to cross that river.
But then if they're infected there,
one person across that river.
If they're infected there, then there would be all sorts of different people infected. I mean, they'd be touching all sorts of stuff on their way to the Wuhan market. Even if they're getting in a car, people could touch the car. There would be all sorts of ways. It's an airborne virus. All this person has to do is crack their window open.
Okay. Time of transmission is relevant, yes, but at the same time and point, you need what's down there. I mean, what's really down in that area? Is that neighborhood? I
showed you. This is this is a huge city.
No, you showed me an overhead city map. I understand, but I could see an overhead city map. I could look at an overhead city map of Chicago and see a whole bunch of houses, but half of them are not there.
Okay,
Nobody
well,
lives there.
these are actual houses here. This is not.
Okay, I'm just saying it just takes one person to go over there and spread that kind of infection.
Okay, but
Now,
but I'm saying
also-
that what we ought to see, if it's an airborne virus, we ought to see more southeast, but we don't. There's actually less
Well,
southeast than there is in the
kind of-
northwest,
that's just-
which would be a very
that comes
strong
down to what
indication
kind
that
of
it came
airborne.
from the Wan'an market, and then there's less people that cross the Yangtze River to the southeast. That would make sense.
Okay. Now, what about this military idea, the military games? I know you've had to heard that theory.
I think that more than likely China was very neglectful in locking down their country. I think they acted far too late. They acted like that there was actually no problem whatsoever, and they were just incapable of dealing with the problem. And I think that that's the cover up. I think that's that would be your likely cover up. But I do believe that I believe the virologists, as well as the maps that I had just shown you, that it seems to be very probable that it is coming from a source that is not of lab origin.
Yeah. See, I'm with the way it spread, and like I said, and how humans like to champion.
No, I didn't
things
even
and
get
play with
into the
things,
allele
and
frequency
we know there
part.
was research into that. We also do know that our own federal government did fund this research. So
Yeah, I mean, I could talk
that's
about
where
that
I
as
sit there
well.
and
If
go,
you want to
it's
go
very
over that, we
easy.
can do that.
It's very easy to go, this was lab put together, and it just depends
I
on
know.
when it was released.
I know. That's why we like to put in critical thinking and not just assume what Joe Rogan is telling me is correct. I'm not saying you listen to Joe Rogan. I'm just being kind of jokey.
He's got
They
some
did
interesting
actually
people on every now and
investigate the
then.
Wuhan Institute of Virology, the WHO. And there was, I believe, also Australian government came in and investigated, as well as some other allies. There were other countries that also checked on their own, specifically the Wuhan Institute of Virology. What they did manage to find is that, yes, indeed, the Wuhan Institute of Virology was investigating coronaviruses. But I just so you're aware, a coronavirus also includes the common cold. There's a lot of different viruses that are coronaviruses. And the closest thing that they were able to find in genomic similarity was one that had a 2% difference in genomic similarity. For the amount of RNA protein strands in the novel coronavirus, I think there's roughly 12,500 in a novel coronavirus. And so what you would have to have is effectively, either this lab is Nobel Prize worthy level of genomic differences, or natural origin.
Okay. Well, I just believe that they actually did put it together. And
Okay,
it
but
just
you
depends on
don't
when
have
they
any
released
evidence
it.
of that. You just say that, and then you walk away, and then you wash your hands of it. I actually sat down, read the documentation from
I'm not
virologists,
gonna disagree.
looked
You
at the
just sat down and
WHO
brought all that
reports,
stuff
looked
up.
at it very carefully, and I didn't just listen to Joe Rogan or like some TikToker or YouTuber who has some hypothesis for me. I actually looked at the information with the understanding that it is totally possible that it happened, right? And if the evidence pointed in that direction, you would not find me disagreeing with you. But because the evidence does not point in that direction, then I go against your hypothesis. Do you understand?
Oh, no, I totally get you and understand. I'm not looking anything up right now. I'm coming at you straight off the top of my head.
Fair enough.
Okay. So
I'll grant you in that
I mean,
you're
I
honest,
could
that's
here and
not
start
that's
typing
not
up stuff in
normal
front of
usually for
Google
people.
and start looking everything up. That also does link it to the idea of it being manufactured in China.
Yeah.
The U.S. did play a hand of it. The question is when it got released.
There was
Okay.
funding that was put towards the Institute of Virology, but it was unrelated to coronavirus studies. I hope that helps. I understand that doesn't sound very, it doesn't sound very, satisfying, but I'm telling you, that's what they had found when they did independent investigations. That's why they still to this day can't seem to, point out specific people who were involved in this, giant conspiracy. Mind you, right? Conspiracies, they're really hard to hide for a long period of time. Hold on. Conspiracies are like really, really hard to maintain for a long period of time. Take, for example, how many people do you think were involved in, say, the scandal with Bill Clinton getting his dick sucked in the Oval Office? How many people do you think were involved in that scandal? I don't know. I think you got the. I think you got. I think you can
honestly assume there's 20 bucks.
I think you could put 2 and 2 together and guess how many people were involved in that scandal. I think we could put 2 and 2 together.
Hold up. Technically, I don't know how many people knew about it, because just in your knowledge of knowing about it, wouldn't you be involved in that scandal?
Well, I would say
so. There could be more than the 2 primary.
Well, it would be 2 plus N, right? Wouldn't that be fair?
I mean, like I said, how many other people knew it was
2 plus
on?
N, right? Yeah, N. N would be the additional people, if there is any. I think there's one other person that knew. All right. 3 people. All right. 3 people. And that got out. So you're going to tell me the Wuhan Institute of Virology, China, which couldn't accurately hide the Uyghur genocide, you're telling me that they just, from everybody doesn't have the information. Everybody is super good at hiding this information, and we can't find a single person that is able to testify this.
Okay. I'm sorry, I blanked out there for a second. I got a text message I had to respond to.
Okay.
Could you repeat yourself?
I said that we can't find anybody who seems to testify this, right? There's nobody. Right. And then all it took was 3 people to get the scandal out. And let's be honest, China isn't the best at hiding their secrets. We literally found out of one of their worst secrets, the Uyghur genocide.
I don't know. It depends on the secrets. I mean, they might have been better at hiding their secrets
how many people are involved in the Wuhan lab leak hypothesis? I mean, there's at least how many people working there? Minimum 20. I'm almost positive it's even more than 20.
Who's to say one of them didn't get infected as a planned infection and just released into the city?
Yeah, that's totally possible. I operated under the hypothesis that could be possible. But when I find falsification principle, I don't double and triple down on the unlikely hypothesis. I just move on.
It seems like that unlikely hypothesis has always been ruled out when it really shouldn't be. That's the problem.
Well, no, it's ruled out because virologists looked at it and were like, this is likely not human origin. This is likely not a designed virus.
How much do you believe in paid corruption?
But here's the thing, man. I mean, I can do that with anything. How do I know that you're not a paid corruption shell? Maybe you're paid by Russia right now. How do I know you're not Tim Pool?
Oh.
I could do come on. We can do that with just about anything.
If you really want to look me up, go ahead, man.
No, I'm not. Listen, I don't think you're Tim Pool, and I don't think you're being paid by the Russian government. I'm just saying that you could do that with just about anything.
But
I don't find that to be particularly good epistemology in determining what's truth.
But that's the thing, though. We're talking about government entities and things like this.
Yeah, so then what I need is credible evidence, right? Entities. Any amount of credible evidence, and I'm on your side, right? But if I have a lack of credible evidence, and the only thing that you can say is government corrupt, big bad government corrupt, and that's it, that I don't find that to be convincing. You need to provide actual, real evidence.
Okay, well then, like I said, I'm shooting off the top of my head. But I could sit here go ahead and look up a whole bunch of stuff on why the lab leak is the most likely source and everything else. Okay.
I mean, I do
So,
remember that the
but
director of the
we'll be
FBI,
sitting here-
he
we'll be
said that
sitting
it
here
was
on the
likely a
phone for the
lab
next
leak
3 hours then.
hypothesis. But again, like I find it very weird that like virologists can look at this virus and then go, yeah, this is animal origin. I find that to be a red flag.
Wait a minute. Now wait, this just came to mind. You talk about this virus being animal origin. All virus, they say they pulled it from a bat. So of course there would be an animal origin. If it was pulled from a bat and tampered with in a lab, yes, there will be an animal origin no matter what.
I'm saying that it was likely
virologist
not
will look at
designed in a lab. It was likely mutated off of an animal. And I don't know what to, you know?
I mean, that's what makes both of our arguments still strong, because it's animal origin. If it's tampered in a lab and a virologist looks at it, he's going to find the base idea of there being an animal origin. Even if it mutated naturally in the world and somebody consumed a stupid bat.
Yeah. Well,
then
currently
yes,
right
it would
now,
still be
in terms of
considered an animal origin.
scientists, as far as scientists are concerned, they believe in the zoonotic origin. Okay, meaning that it likely
there's
came
also
from an
scientists
animal
out
and
there-
that it was possibly from bats or an intermediary host to the humans via the wet market.
And even the idea of viruses transferring to humans so easily like that is very rare.
And
There's
mind
not a
you,
lot of
right,
them out there to do it like that.
the U.S. agencies like the Department of Energy and the FBI, they assessed with quote unquote low to moderate confidence that the lab related incident could be responsible. However, no definitive proof was actually presented.
That comes down to the whole conspiracy idea back again, because it could there's no definitive proof that says it wasn't.
Okay, but then
They
I
just
need
said they
I need
really
actual
can't- they
proof,
really
right?
haven't found- it's like
Again,
saying,
let me
"We
ask
just
you
haven't
this,
found
right?
it yet."
Let me ask you that. Let's say, for example, like there's a leprechaun behind you. I know that there's a leprechaun behind you, but if you turn around and you try to look, the leprechaun disappears. Also, do not try to get a camera or a mirror because it'll disappear. And also do not put have another person in the room. And also don't put stuff on the floor either to try to get it to excite the stuff on the floor to prove that it exists, because it will also disappear. How do you disprove this?
How do you disprove it?
Yeah, how do you prove that there's not a leprechaun behind you?
You can't even. You're telling me every possible way to show that it is in existence is not there.
I'm telling you that there's a leprechaun behind you, and if you turn around, it
you're telling
disappears.
me
So how do you disprove
You
that?
just basically described the situation where because if there's a leprechaun behind me, based on if we're standing outside in the woods, I'd see footprints.
No, it doesn't
So,
excite
you
any.
tell me
It
there's a
floats.
leprechaun. Exactly. So
The
you're
leprechaun
giving
floats.
me every possible way to disprove that there's something behind me.
No,
What
I'm saying
about sound?
I'm
You're
telling
taking-
you,
you're taking his
I gave
ideas
you all of the
appearing
metrics
and
you
kind of
need,
erupting
but
behind me.
I mean, obviously there's still a leprechaun behind you, even though I'm just saying you can't prove it's not there, is my point.
I can't prove it's not there.
Yeah, you can't prove it's not there. Kind of like what you just did with COVID.
If I turn around and don't see it, that's proof that it is not there.
No, it disappears as soon as you turn around and try to look at it.
Exactly. You want me to show you proof that it's not there, so when I turn around...
Oh, so wait, are you saying that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence? No way.
That works the same way with my theory.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. We are developing your epistemology as we see it, even today. If there is a lack of evidence, that is not an indication of evidence.
I mean, well, your evidence is saying that virologists put it on animal
Yeah,
organs.
specifically the genomic differences
and
that would
also-
be literally
also
impossible
you
in a
can't deny,
lab
though-
of what was observed regarding the novel coronavirus. The RNA strands,
Okay, but-
it was not possible for a lab to be able to just make that. And that's why
Really?
most
How do you think-
most believe the zoonotic origin. Yeah.
You don't know how vaccines are made then, or any kind of drug. It's pretty much developed in a lab, and they play with viruses and diseases to make those vaccines for that. So
Dude,
At the
I
same
never
time, they
heard
would have
vaccines getting made before, but you just educated me. I now know how vaccines are made. Thank you.
I know I'm being very facetious and sarcastic, but I mean, this is the Wuhan viral lab. They play with viruses.
Yeah, I gave you the evidence that I'm aware of. And I mean, I don't know. If you have no evidence, then I don't know. I think we got to go to the next caller. But I appreciate you calling.
But yeah, no, we're cool. But
you know,
no, I mean,
you should call in again. Have you subscribed?
More of the evidence is right there in front of you, like waving at you, hi, yeah. I'm going to kick you in the nuts.
Well, there hasn't been any evidence. That's the problem, that I don't have any evidence of that case. Like I accepted the hypothesis that it could be true. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, okay, there's no evidence.
It's more along the lines of as adversarial as everything says, as how evil the world really is. You know, I'm sorry, this whole war going on and bullshit like that, fucking Ukraine, Russia, Israel, goddamn, quit it. Get fucking along.
What?
Quit your fucking religious bullshit ideology. You just stay in your fucking land. You just play nice. Why can't we?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm getting all sorts of calls. So, I think we're gonna move on. But I appreciate you calling, and if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much.
I don't know if you pop across me, I'll go hit you up one day again. But later on, man.
Sick. All right, we got another call. It's crazy, dude. We have so many callers, Daniel.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go, real quick.
It's good.
You're on the line with First Amender. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I think I just heard you discuss the lab leak for a couple seconds.
Oh yeah, the lab leak hypothesis. Do we have to? Did you want to talk about that topic or go on another topic? Because we did talk about that for a good hour.
Right, but what I heard you say is that you said that you believe the scientists are saying that the more probable hypothesis is the zoonotic origin.
Correct.
Which scientists are you talking about?
Virologists all across the world.
No, well, that's not true. Which virologists are
Most scientists consider that the most likely scenario is, in fact, zoonotic origin.
Can you give me an example of a single virologist who is saying this?
No, I don't have a specific single virologist, but most scientists do consider that the most likely scenario is that the virus jumped from animals, possibly via bats and an intermediary host to humans in a wet market elsewhere.
Stop. This sounds like a religious kind of argument. I don't think you know anything about this subject. You just have a platonic ideal that there are, the majority of scientists are saying this. I don't think you know anything about the papers that argue this. I don't think you know anything about the rebuttals that trash these papers. I don't think you know anything about the virologists getting caught saying it's a conspiracy, or that they were literally planning to cover it up in their Slack messages that got subpoenaed. Do you know any of this?
I mean, if you have evidence to point against me, that'd be great.
So Congress subpoenaed Christian Anderson's Slack messages, right? Do you know who Christian Anderson is?
No.
He wrote he's one of the authors that wrote Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2. This was downloaded something like 75 or 80,000 times, and was used as the basis for arguing against the lab leak. This is not ringing a bell for you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so that's a problem. That sounds like you don't know anything about this subject, but you're talking with a lot of confidence.
Well, I gave my
Christian. Anyways, Christian. Anderson
well, hold on. This is not going to be you talking over me, right? This is my show.
You asked,
we can have a back and forth conversation. And that's fair to say. I'm not a virologist. I'm not an expert in the field.
For evidence,
so what I did is that I looked up.
I don't think you want me to
the information.
To finish
I
my point.
mean, you can finish your point. I'm not going to let you steamroll the conversation. So, if that's what you think that this is going to be, I'm just going to move on to the next caller on someone who's going to be more good faith. Don't steamroll the conversation.
Good faith? Okay, this is crazy. All right, so check out this exchange. Listen to this. Andrew Rambo, who's another virologist, right? He says, given the shit show that would happen if anyone seriously accused the Chinese of even an accidental release, my feeling is we should say that given there is no evidence of a specifically engineered virus, we cannot possibly distinguish between natural evolution and escape. So we are content with ascribing it to natural processes, right? Christian Anderson replies, yep, I totally agree that that's a very reasonable conclusion. Although I hate when politics is injected into science, it's impossible not to, especially given the circumstances. We should all be sensitive to that. Okay, that exchange is a textbook example of conflict of interests and a literal cover-up, literal plans to cover up the possible origin that it came from a laboratory.
What are you reading?
I'm reading the subpoenaed Slack messages that you don't know anything about. And then another Slack message that says, it's not a conspiracy.
Slack messages from who?
So friggin'
from who to who?
It's so friggin'.
I'll Google it so I can
Christian
show it to everybody. So subpoena Slack messages from who to who?
Christian Anderson, Eddie Holmes, Andrew Rambo. Just look up COVID Slack messages.
Eddie Holmes?
Correct. I'm going to read you another one really quick.
Hold on a sec.
This says, I think
well, I mean, because like right there, that like what you had just read to me does not sound to me like that would be a cover up. Like that sounds like that they're talking about what the reasoning was. Sounds to me, but here, take a look at this, right? Because we wanted to go over like specifically what the origins could have been. And it's funny, I actually have here a paper that was published in the 17th of March of 2020 regarding the proximal origins of SARS-CoV-2. And they're referring to this novel pneumonia in Wuhan, Hubei province in China. And the origin, shut up for a second, please.
You don't know anything about this subject.
Please. They're asking for specifically, talking about what exactly it was and the features of the SARS-2 genome. And so what it does actually go over, and it has here, very interestingly, the features of the spike protein in the humans of SARS-CoV-2 and related coronaviruses, and it is able to show the mutations of receptor binding domain of SARS-CoV-2. It is able to show exactly where the zoonotic origin would have likely have come from and what are the similarities between known coronaviruses and then this mutated novel coronavirus. It is a plausible way that it could have existed.
Can you stop for a second? Are you reading the proximal origin paper?
The proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2, yeah.
Correct. Do you know Do you know why I brought that paper up? Do you know who the Slack messages are from? They're from those authors.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Now,
I mean, if you could provide me like a link, do you have Discord?
Yeah.
Can you add me on Discord? I'm First Amender on Discord.
Sure.
1STM Ender.
Now,
capital A. If you add me on Discord, you can send me the link of what you want me to look at, and I will stream it for everybody to see.
That's okay. Well, all they have to do is just look up the subpoenaed Slack messages from the authors who are writing that paper, and look at the dates of those messages, right? And then look at the date of the paper that you're reading to your audience right now. Because another Slack message says,
I don't think if something is older doesn't mean like therefore therefore it is not
still in my. Are you gonna let me finish or not?
I don't think that if something is older, therefore that means that the older thing is wrong and the newer thing is correct, right?
Or does it work the other way around too? Because that's not how
I mean it could. Yeah, I mean it could happen.
Papers.
I mean, the newer thing could be correct.
Scientists don't go and start drafting. Though it's not really a scientific paper. It's a letter or it's a letter. It's a, what do you call it?
Yeah.
It's not an opinion piece, but it's not a peer-reviewed paper, right? It's a commentary that kind of looks like a paper. But regardless, if you're a scientist writing something that is the polar opposite of what you're saying in private, that's fraud. Listen to this. Listen to what these guys were saying around the time that was produced, right? This is Christian Anderson again. I think the main thing still in my mind that is so is that the lab escape version of this is so friggin' likely to have happened because they were already doing this type of work, and the molecular data is fully consistent with that scenario. Okay, none of that is referenced in proximal origin, because the previous Slack messages that I read to you were saying explicitly that they're saying the politics are too hot and we have to ascribe it to natural origins. Okay, that is a brazen cover-up. It's a textbook example of what you should not do if you're a scientist. It's what you should do if you're a cover-up artist. And you don't know anything about these guys.
I think, and I'm looking at some of these Slack messages, and what I'm getting is that the Slack messages was an internal deliberation of changing perspectives and not necessarily orchestrated deception. And
So
that
did you
the
not hear what I just
scientists
said?
had defended their process with evidence-driven institutions such as the Australian Academy of Science, and noted that the shifts in opinion reflect fresh evidence, not outside influence. And Anderson,
you have to
Gary,
look
and
at the
others
date.
have stated in hearings that there was no external pressure from Dr. Fauci or the NIH to conform the specific relatives. And this is confirmed in congress.gov. I can provide it right here.
It's not confirmed. It's what's confirmed is
What
there's
I
no
just said was
explicit email
confirmed.
that they got caught with it. Okay, and if you're going to talk about new evidence, you have to be specific about which new evidence changed their minds, because they had all the evidence, and in private they're saying, "Holy shit, this looks like a lab leak," and in public they don't talk about the arguments that they were deliberating with each other in private, right? Okay, so that paper was. What they try to say is that was our early deliberations, that we found new evidence and it changed our minds, right?
Yeah.
That's what they
well,
say.
I mean, I gave a
But
valid
but there
perspective
are-
regarding
but-
your Slack thing, and
you didn't. You gave a mob lawyer-like defense, like you're trying
okay.
to
Well,
defend
then I suppose
petroleum
there will be
engineers
nothing
who-
that will convince you otherwise. I guess you won the debate.
I'm
Do you have anything
literally-
else for me?
I'm literally, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So debate a liberal is just telling them facts and watching them act like a mob lawyer, defending absolute.
No, I just
psychos
provided
who
a
are-
rebuttal,
who are-
and you don't really have a way to rebut it.
No, that rebuttal was dog shit, and you know it.
Yeah, there's a
And those
full
Slack
subpoena
messages-
release that you can look at, including the
Those-
Slack excerpts that you're talking about, as well as timelines and government correspondence in the House Oversight site. And there is a key link that shows you the oversight.house.gov. They literally talk about exactly what you're saying. And they basically
Who?
had this idea of initially entertaining the possibility of a lab origin, and find that it was an initial worry regarding genetic engineering, but it had been removed after they realized that, okay, it's likely not that. It's likely zoonotic origin.
And I just told you that the timeline doesn't make sense with that. Now, just because congressmen didn't know how to debate this doesn't mean that those virologists weren't deliberating after proximal origin was released to the public and saying, I'm not sure there's no engineering. There might be culturing, right? You could still insert that furin cleavage site with Gibson assembly, right? This is a technique that virologists use. This is a month after the paper or the commentary was published. And
Well, I suppose we're
saying,
going to have to
don't
agree
think
to
our-
disagree. I honestly...
What do you mean agree, disagree? Are you
Yeah,
saying
I
that
mean,
that's
like,
not
I
true, what just
provided
said?
evidence, and you're like, well, my
you
thing
didn't.
is more
You
correct,
didn't.
and then that was
You
it.
didn't.
I mean...
Well,
Anyway,
that's
I'm
the
gonna.
primary
I'll be
source.
honest. Like,
It's
it's
the
kind
primary
of
source
kind of
here.
boring to me. Like, I'm not gonna.
Because you don't know anything about the
entertain it
subject,
anymore.
and you got your ass handed to you. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yep. You're
You
the
don't know
winner.
anything about
You
this.
won, dude. You can walk away.
Why don't you read those
proud
Slack
with
messages?
your with your
You don't know
finger
anything.
rubbing the bottom of your nose, like.
You're an
got 'em.
ideologue. You're an
Yep.
ideologue.
Good
You
talk.
don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Let me go on D&D mode for just a second, Daniel. What did you think of that?
Oh man, this is just insane.
What did you think of that? Like, I just bring up like a really
I know,
like
all these
like just
conspiracy
simple
theories.
thing, and he has to make it a conspiracy. Like, I brought up a viable hypothesis, and he's like, "That's just lawyering. You're lawyering me. Who exactly? What names? Show me exactly." And like they cannot acknowledge just some basic information that I provide. And it's like readily available. All I did was just quickly Google what he was looking for, and I found it right away. Wow, amazing, incredible. Anyway,
How about like look like the spread of the disease, and this is something that we as humans, like when it comes to medicine, have learned for a very long time, right? That's why we're going for like patient zero, remember in all those movies where you're going for patient zero?
Yeah.
And when you're finding patient zero, you can see
Continue.
exactly how
I'm
it
listening.
spreads and how it's like, it's a lot more around where patient zero was rather than where patient zero wasn't in the beginning. And it's crazy because when you look at COVID-19, that's what you see. You literally see, there's like a specific focal point, right, for the origin of the original infection that took place. And it fits with all the previous data that we had. And the fact that when you're looking at that data, which wasn't collected by the Chinese government, right? Because it's like, maybe you're going to say, I don't trust the Chinese Communist Party. Cool. You don't have to, because they weren't the ones doing it. It was the WHO. So it's crazy. It's crazy. But the reason is like you have all these like CIA guys that are coming and saying, well, it's like there's a lab origin for this, and you're asking, what's the confidence? Well, it's a low confidence, but we're just saying it anyway.
Yeah, you just say it as is with no
Why
no backing.
Are you saying it?
Yeah. I mean, anyway, we're going to go ahead and enable the calls one more time and let's see what we get. Maybe we get something interesting. I'll be honest. I kind of don't want to talk about COVID, but I mean, we can, I guess, but if you have something, hopefully something more interesting. Okay. The calls are open. Just call in and I'll answer the first one who answers anyway. Maybe not be so aggro.
It was a long time ago, man.
Maybe not. Yeah. Like COVID's over. Maybe not be so aggro, I guess is my concern. Okay. We're getting phone calls. All right, here we go. You're on the line with First Amender. How you doing?
Hey, awesome. My name is David. I'm excited to get through. How's it going?
How you doing, David?
I'm doing good, man.
What do you want to talk about?
I was going to leave that up to you. I was listening to the COVID thing. That got kind of stale. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Fair enough. Well, I'm your hardcore, bona fide SJW soy boy liberal. I believe in trans-affirming care, including on minors. I believe in all sorts of pro-liberal positions. Does that help?
Okay. Are there any? What about the intersection between conservative and liberal ideology? Is there anywhere where you kind of cross over?
A kind of a crossover. What's a thing that I do? I'm a capitalist.
You are a capitalist. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Me too. I think capitalism is a good option for us right now until we come up with something better.
I agree with you. And me particularly, I like capitalism with strong social safety nets. That's the best system that I've been able to observe. What do you think of that? You agree with that?
I could agree with that if we had strong borders.
I think I see where you're getting at, right? Because I think like there was a Milton Friedman book where they talked about that if there is like help from the state, it could actually be quite negative to have immigrants. And like monetarily, I don't disagree with that, I suppose, that it could be quite negative in that aspect. Thankfully, though, like when it comes to immigrants, they can't actually even get, they're not even allowed to have federal benefits, for example. You have to be a citizen of the United States.
I would disagree with that. I know I live in Texas. There's even quite a bit of illegal immigrants here.
Okay.
And there's people I work with that I know for sure get federal benefits, and they're not legal. They just use like fake information.
How do they get federal benefits?
Well, they're using false information. They're using fake social security numbers, social security numbers from people that actually exist, but it's not them, and they're able to get funding.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I'll grant you that. It's fair to say, though, in general, that unauthorized illegal immigrants are not eligible for most federal benefits.
They're not eligible, but there are loopholes, though. Just like anything.
I mean, I suppose you could technically steal someone's like social security card and then walk around and say that you're that person through identity theft. Most illegal immigrants are not doing that. Usually what they'll do is that they'll use like a defunct social security number not associated with anybody, or somebody who's dead. And usually
Right.
what happens is when you have a social security number like that, there are databases that compare the social security number between known living peoples in social security, which are available by government websites. It just kicks back as effectively not a valid social security number, and then they just they don't get benefits. It's actually kind of a shame because, like, take for example, like I used to run I'm a systems administrator, and I used to run a web portal system that did workers' compensation. Specifically, it was an information system that dealt in workers' compensation, and we had to, daily jobs that would import government databases to then compare social security numbers. And as soon as they realized that somebody was an illegal immigrant, they would kick back that a person would not be due workers' compensation if they are injured on the job. It's actually kind of sad because I remember seeing thousands and thousands of people like this. People who legitimately have been working really, really hard. I mean, I'm talking like roofers who've been roofing for over 20 years, and they've been, roofing in the middle of July, through their entire summer, and they came in with a fake social security number. The boss is no more knowledgeable about it. And so they just simply hire this person, and then there they are, they're working 10, 15 years. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, they get one injury. They fall off the side of the roof, and they break their back or something. There they are, and the boss, being a good boss, what they end up doing is that they claim the workers' compensation for them on their behalf, and then our system kicks back the fact that they're an illegal immigrant, and then workers' compensation just screws them over, and then we kick them out. It's awful. ICE shows up at the hospital, and then we kick them out. It's awful. I hate this. I think it's a humanitarian blight.
Yeah, I mean, that is awful that happens to the person, but at the same time, there is work visas and other ways to come into the country legally.
A lot of the times they do start with a work visa, and it expires, or it gets arbitrarily moved off. It's harder to become a citizen than you think. It's one of the hardest things that an immigrant can go through.
Well, I have a friend from Venezuela going through that process right now, and it's been very difficult for him. They keep changing the rules on him as he goes. But so I do understand the plight of the people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're breaking the rules and you get caught, like say I'm speeding down the road and I got a ticket, I'm not going to get all angry because I knew what I was doing when I did it.
I agree with you. I think let's say, for example, right, if I took the roads and I made it 25 miles an hour in the highway, right? Do you think people would likely be speeding?
Yeah, they would, for sure.
Yeah, and so then I would start arresting people, and then what? Would I blame all of the people who are speeding, or would I probably blame the fact that the speed limit's too slow?
I think it depends if you're the government or the people. If you're the people,
I'm looking at it from like a societal point of view. Like, what are the results if you make laws so convoluted that it's difficult to follow? Like, let's say, for example, if I said, if it was like a long, like full paragraph instead of like a speed sign, it said, between the hours of 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. on on a non-leap year, that you are to go 25 miles an hour. Wouldn't that be crazy, right?
Right.
You'd be like, why is this so convoluted? Why not make it easy? Why not make it simple? Like, have a simple system. And I came up with a simple system. The system is, if you're not on the OFAC list, if you're not on the no-fly list, if you don't have any communicable diseases, and you're not convicted of any violent crimes of your home country, here's your work visa, SA.
Right. But so many people are not even willing to go through that simple. They won't even go through
okay,
that
well,
simple check.
if it's that simple and they're not doing that really simple thing, then you and I will be in agreement, deport them. Like, go through the simple pathway. Like, I would actually deport them to the border and be like, you need to file your paperwork. That would be it.
Honestly, I guess I'm more like a libertarian. I kind of have the view. I would be fine with completely open borders as long as we
my.
just got rid of the social safety nets.
I'm not that far. I used to be there. I think there can be genuinely dangerous people that do take advantage of an open border. And I do think that a country does need borders in order to maintain its security. I think it's necessary. But with that being said, I just think that we're taking advantage of people who don't deserve to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, definitely. Like these people that come here and they make that the employers know that they're illegal and they're making less than minimum wage. That's ridiculous.
I know, it's horrendous. $4 an hour. Wouldn't it be great if there were unions? If there were unions for every single one of these people. What do you think about that?
Well, look at the auto industry. The unions have argued that their wages need to be so high that now the cost of cars are pretty much out of reach for the average American just because of the unions.
Maybe, but I think like if everybody had unions, then it would not be. It would be affordable.
If everybody was making.
If everybody was forced to be in a union, then yeah, it would be affordable.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'd have to see some sort of model on that. I really don't know.
Here, you're a libertarian, right? I used to be a libertarian. I love capitalism. Don't you love capitalism?
Yeah, free market capitalism.
Hell yeah. Base, free market, private property, all that good stuff. You and I are in agreement there. Do you believe that a person should be able to only enter into a contractual obligation with the lack of coercion?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can't go to you and, point a gun at your head and say, "Give me all your money." Right? That's theft. It's robbery, right?
Right.
And it, it would also, I would call it even like at the level of mercantilism. I mean, that's kind of what it was, and say like conquistadors coming into foreign lands and then saying, "Give me all your money," or "Give me all your gold," rather, and they pointed a gun at them and they were like, "All right, you make a good bargain. Here's gold," right? It was very coercive, right? And I wouldn't call that capitalism. I would call that mercantilism, coercion, if you will.
Yeah, piracy.
So I believe, exactly. So I believe that when it comes to a job in right-to-work states, all of the chips are in the owner's side, right? Meaning it is the owner that can actually decide how much money that the person can make. And if there's a lot of people that are willing to work, it can be set to however arbitrarily low that he likes. For example, if there was an excess amount of engineers, then they could arbitrarily set it to artificially low rates. Obviously, engineers are quite valuable, so they don't get paid artificially low rates, but there's all sorts of people that get paid artificially low rates just because of the amount of people that there exist. And given the fact that the only way that you can survive in this day and age is often to get a job. I mean, you could start your own business. Most people aren't going to be able to start their own business. The risk of failure is too high. Some people just need stability and they're willing to transfer that risk. And so effectively, the job where there is no negotiating power on the worker's side, and all of the chips are stacked into the owner's end. This to me sounds like a coercive model. I go, well, people need to live, so they're kind of going to just deal with whatever working conditions that they can get.
For me personally, I know if a pay is too low, I won't even consider the job, no matter
Fair
what
enough.
it is.
If you're skilled, I agree with you. You have negotiating power. I'm saying for a lot of people, they don't necessarily have that option,
Well, even if you're not,
especially if
skilled,
it's
though,
low
you
entry.
There's more jobs out there. You can just keep looking.
No, I agree with you. I'm saying not everybody can pull that off, right? And I just believe that the relationship between the worker and the owner is coercive in its nature, and it is by law that they have created the right to work state where they can effectively fire you for creating a union, and the idea of collecting union dues has no backing in a court of law in a right to work state. Now, the benefit that they provided in the right to work state was that, well, in the right to work state, you at any point can compete with that company in the event that you feel like you could do a better job. Of course, the problem with this hypothesis is that while we like the idea of free markets, the reality is that they just make you sign a non-compete agreement, and then that's the end of that. That you cannot compete against the company that you were working for in a right to work state, effectively circumventing the entire point of the right to work state to begin with. All it did was just make workers get paid less, and the data shows that. It shows that in states where there is a right to work, or a union state as opposed to a right to work, the quality of living is higher, the pay is higher, people have better benefits, and they get better retirement plans as well.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. My dad works for the union, and I know he got a really good retirement plan.
Oh, hell yeah, based. And I think everyone deserves that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a big, giant, multinational
honestly,
corporate.
The way our economy is right now, I don't think... something has to change. It's about to break, it feels like to me.
Yeah, no, I think I'm in agreement with you there. I just think that people are sick and tired of it. And I think that's the reason why people hate capitalism. I think if you have unions, you can actually have functioning capitalism and less coercive capitalism, less mercantilism, pro-capitalism, huh?
Well, how do you feel about AI coming around the corner and its possibility?
I'm not concerned about it. I'm not concerned about it.
You're not concerned?
Yeah, I'm not. What I have found is that there are some economic papers that show that while AI, it's speculated that it's going to steal a lot of jobs. The reality is it just makes workers more productive. And I really, honestly, at the end of the day, I just have no indication that this would not be the case. I mean, like, did millions of jobs get lost when we, invented, say, the cotton gin or the printing press? Yeah, but or like, did lots of jobs get lost when we invented, the horseless carriage, a car? Yeah, lots of jobs. We couldn't have even imagined what kind of jobs were created with the invention of those things. I mean, people just end up being more productive. Why is it any different for AI?
Well, with the horse comparison, I'd say that we are the horses in this situation, in this new coming AI.
Well, then I would suppose that we would have to spend our life living a life of luxury, wouldn't we?
Like modern horses.
Yeah. Just
but there sure
here's
is
your
a lot
feed
less
bag
horses
and
now than there was then.
no job. No one has to work. Everybody just lets the AI overlords and you collect your UBI. That sounds amazing. Yeah, let's do it. Everybody just lives a life of leisure. And if you want to work, you can go work.
The like blue collar jobs and physical jobs, I think will be around a lot longer. But I think a lot of white collar jobs and like data entry type jobs are going to disappear. It's
funny because like I'm in IT and I don't feel like my job is at threat at all. If anything, the AI has helped my job. Like I've been able to automate more tasks and make things easier on myself. It's just been a lot easier. It really has.
But as you keep automating those jobs, isn't there going to eventually be a point where you're not needed?
I mean, I suppose so, but then that would be the argument of UBI, social safety nets.
Right. Yeah. There has to be some sort of UBI in the future, I think, if AI takes off the way that I'm predicting.
Assuming that it just takes over. I think that there's going to be I think what ends up happening is that more than likely people will just move off to more service-based jobs, and there will likely be new jobs created that we can't imagine yet. I think that's what would happen.
Yeah. Well, that seems like we agree on a lot of things then.
Cool, based. Have you subscribed?
One area, not yet. I will.
Subscribe. I appreciate it, man. I'm a really tiny YouTuber, but I'm growing, getting bigger. I think like last time I checked was 596 subscribers. So I'm very proud of that. It took, I think, over a year to get that.
I'm honestly surprised that you showed up in my algorithm, because usually smaller channels don't get promoted like that.
Ah, very cool. Well, that's good. Maybe the YouTube gods are looking down upon me.
Yeah. So we can get into debate though, to make it more interesting for the callers or for the listeners.
Okay.
Let's go back to the trans kid. You said you were pro trans kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah, big time. I follow the WPATH standards, and the WPATH standards is basically a giant medical society that looks at evidence-based research of the effectiveness of gender-affirming care. And what it was able to find is that there's all sorts of reasons why you would apply gender-affirming care. And this would typically also extend to trans youth.
Well, why do you think there's so many transgender youth nowadays compared to in the past?
I think that it could be social, and it could be a hormonal component to it.
Like environmental?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying like people could influence somebody, but also it is very possible that they have a genetic origin, as in like it occurs as early as an embryonic stage.
Right. But do you think there could be some sort of environmental toxin that's causing that change during the embryonic phase?
If there is, I would love to hear about it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm just asking because it seems
I don't believe that it is an environmental toxin, and I'll tell you why. We've had trans individuals for longer than you think. It's just we never called them trans people. We just didn't use that terminology. We called them transvestites. We called them ladyboys. We called them queer. We call them all sorts of different words. But I mean, have you ever seen? Oh shoot! What was that one? I'm trying to remember. Hold on. Give me a sec. Trying to remember. Do you know the movie? I remember. Ed Wood. Do you know this movie? Ed Wood.
No. Yeah. No, I don't know.
So Ed Wood, right? He was this was like you can actually watch this movie nowadays. It's actually it's a fabulous movie. It's of it would have been like a 1950s version of a Tommy Wiseau. Do you know who Tommy Wiseau is?
No, I don't.
No way. Okay, I'm too far into the internet. I'm so sorry. These are terrible movie directors, just really, really bad movie directors. And you get to hear about like these really bad movie directors. And one of the movies about this terrible movie director was their name was Ed Wood. And one of the things that Ed Wood liked to do as a director is he just loved dressing in women's clothing. He could not figure out why. He just loved the femininity of it. He just this weird. But here's the thing: they didn't call him, a trans person because that just wasn't the terminology. They would call it something like, you're just queer. You're odd, right? Like that would have been the 1950s terminology. And like we could even look at different cultures where there exists, say, hijras in India, where it's literally just trans people, and they've been around for thousands of years.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about adults that detransition after they were transitioned as children?
I think that in order to prevent that from happening is we need to have a very good vetting process. And I think that and this is also by WPATH standards, where they take the child to a psychologist to actually analyze whether or not that they have gender dysphoria and whether or not transitioning is actually necessary. Because the severity it can be radically different case by case. And I think you need to just be damn sure before you decide to initiate, say, hormone blockers. And interestingly enough, a majority of cases actually end up just being social transition until they phase out of it. And that's 90% of cases is just social transition, and then they transition out of it. They don't even need to provide any drugs at all. There's only the minority of cases that do.
So with the stat of 90% of them detransitioning out of it,
No, I'm saying 90%. It's just like a social thing, and so they just do it. A social transition is enough.
Like a social transition would be clothes and hair,
yeah,
stuff like that.
And most of the time they grow out of it, right? Because there's no harm in wearing, a girl's clothes as a boy or a boy's clothes as a girl. I mean, just don't be mean to them. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the times it can be a phase.
I don't
Fair
advocate
enough.
I don't advocate for being mean to anybody either, but I do think that doing surgeries or drugs on children should be outlawed, though.
Doing surgeries or drugs on children?
Yeah, like the hormonal change drugs.
What do you think about like root canals?
Well, but that's a medical. Well, I don't know. That's like a medical necessity, right? It's not.
What about
hormone
gynecomastia?
changes- Gyno. What is that?
It is where a boy grows women's breasts during puberty.
Oh, right.
Terrible
That's a
condition. I
weird-
mean, think about that. Isn't that horrible? What kind of cruel
Yeah,
joke
something like
God
that.
is playing on this poor boy that's growing tits? I can't even show you
I
the
think that's
results
from our
like
food,
on YouTube because it's if I showed you tits. It's,
Yeah, I think
you
that's
can look
from
it
our
up
food,
yourself.
though.
It's
I
called
think-
gynecomastia, and usually what is instilled to resolve this is hormone blockers.
Okay, but that's a.
And
but-
HRT.
okay, but that's different though. That's someone with an unwanted side effect that I believe is from our food having too much estrogens in it. But if you,
I
look
don't
at
think
someone
that that's
just-
I have no evidence of that. I mean, I've looked that up as a potential hypothesis. I have no evidence of that. I'm willing to hear people out, but I just don't have any evidence. Regarding the why is Diablo
a
here?
boy wanted to be a
Hold on a
girl is
second.
more mental,
Daniel,
though,
can
right?
you help me? Why is Diablo here? Can you tell me why Diablo is here? I just saw Diablo.
I have no idea.
Why is
I have
Diablo
no
here?
idea,
Did
man.
you see that?
I
You
don't
saw
think
that,
it was Diablo though.
It literally
I'm not watching
that's
it.
Are
is
you
that
sure
is it, do you see that? That's Diablo, right?
Oh,
What is that?
It's it's the Uber. It's Uber Diablo.
Oh, good.
It's,
Okay, well I'm leaving.
If you can kill him, he's gonna. You can get like a special charm
Is it
from him, but it's very hard.
okay? Well, I'm not strong enough to fight regular monsters,
No,
let
you're not.
alone Diablo. So I'm just gonna leave.
No, he's just gonna destroy you.
All right, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. We're back to the caller. My apologies. I'm talking to my friend Daniel, who is my co-host. Sorry. Can you repeat? My apologies. I didn't understand what was going on in my game.
Well, so what I was saying is that I think the gynecomastia, as you were saying, that's more of like a
Medically
physical
necessary?
thing where I think, yeah, where
Okay. What about
a
gender
child
dysphoria?
wanting to
Is
be
that
of
medically
opposite
necessary?
sex. I would say no. If we could social
Why?
transition them and they're able to detransition later, I think that's a better
Well, there
practice.
are some people where that's enough, and then there are some people where that's not enough. This is what I mean is that we should look at it at a case-by-case basis and apply conservatively where necessary.
I just think the risk of damaging someone's entire future.
There
On a
is
maybe
risk
not
to every drug that you take, and there are plenty of risky drugs that we apply on children all the time. The question is whether or not that there's a medical professional that is willing to take a look at it and not just greenlight everything. I think that's what's important, not banning it outright. I don't think it's correct to ban it outright. But with that being said, I mean, the Supreme Court did rule in your favor, saying that it is okay for to discriminate against trans people, trans minors, from receiving gender affirming treatment, which is really sad to me. They ultimately have left that up to the states, effectively legalizing this discrimination, despite the fact that a majority of medical institutions disagree with that finding.
For now, medical institutions change their opinions every week, so.
Well, it's been
I
like
think
this
that
for years, and it's been something that's been understood since the 1970s, I believe. And it's only until recently it has come into vogue, and why all these laws have been passed to prevent trans people from being who they are.
Right. Well, they were still doing lobotomies in the 70s, so.
Well, no, wait. I'm pretty sure lobotomies were banned early in, but I agree with you. There were additional medical standards that were passed afterwards. Fair enough. I mean, if there's a mistake, there's a mistake. We correct that. That doesn't mean we eschew all medicine. It's just crazy.
Well,
Medicine
It
has
happens
helped a
when we
lot
have,
of people.
But there's people with ideological bent that are in these programs, and I think
All right,
they
if
have
that
too
is the
much control.
case, out of the WPATH standards, the hundreds and hundreds of physicians, doctors, endocrinologists, gynecologists, embryologists, psychologists, sociologists, all coming together, and then that, like, you believe that there is a conspiracy across all of those fields of research. I think it is what is more likely is Joe Rogan is wrong. I'm not saying you watched Joe Rogan, by the way. I'm just being cheeky.
Yeah, I don't know about Joe Rogan, but I think
Isn't that guy
I
an
think there
idiot?
definitely is like
It drives me nuts. These people drive me nuts. They're so dumb. Why are they as big as they are? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.
he speaks to the masses. Apparently.
Oh my God. Dude, you know why it speaks to the masses? No Child Left Behind and Teaching to the Test. That's why it speaks to the masses. That's why. I think we've gotten so freaking dumb, dude. I'm sad about it. I genuinely am very upset by it.
Well, it's going to get much worse. Have you seen child literacy rates lately?
Yeah, awful.
It's crazy.
I've been actually an advocate of federally banning cell phones. Federally banning cell phones inside schools. And what I mean by banning is that they would have to have a locker where they have to put away their cell phone. And then at the end of the school day, they can collect their cell phone. That and combined with that, I do not believe that social media companies should be having kids using social media apps until they're 16.
Right. It's just hard to prove. I think.
Well, I mean, it was the standard.
Find a way to get around.
It was the standard 16. What was presented, but there were sadly, and I'm just going to tell you just straight off the bat, I'm not just being biased about it. It's Republicans that had deals with social media companies to lower the age. They realized that they would not be able to get it to pass at 16, so they arbitrarily lowered the age to 13, and as a result, Europe followed suit, saying that, well, if the United States is okay with it, then it's okay to the Europeans. And so across the world, it's effectively okay for 13-year-olds, even though there's mountains of evidence showing increased suicide as well as anxiety and depression among users, specifically because of access to social media, not being able to properly socialize.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I think even if you put a law in saying they have to be 18, kids will still get around it.
No, I agree with you. But what's good is that parents, when they know that the government tells them it's 13, they think, well, the government says it's okay, so it's probably fine. And you'd be surprised how, like, by having a law that says 16 and older, then parents, they often follow suit. Right now, I'm sure there's parents that won't care. Fair enough. But I'm saying that there would be more parents that would be concerned about that than otherwise if it was 16 instead of 13.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't have an opinion on that because I think kids will just do what they want to do.
No,
Especially if they have a phone, like, you're not going to stop them from, even if their parents and the government and the websites are trying to stop them, they're still getting in.
Yeah, I just don't think I don't think they should be accessing social media. I think it's bad for their health.
The only way to really control it would be to make sure they don't have a phone, honestly. Or
smartphones, like, dude, if you're a parent, by the way, please, no smartphones until 16. Give them a dumb phone. Give them a dumb regular phone so they can contact people, but no smartphone. Trust me, it'll be better for them.
So I am a parent. I actually gave my son a smartphone when he was 8 years old. He's 15 now. But he's on the top of his class. We live in Texas. And he's in the 99th percentile for math, science, and language.
That's fabulous. You're lucky.
And I'm very lucky, but I don't think the cell phone had any part to do with that, negatively or positively, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, if they're properly socializing, it should not be a problem. I think, like, what has to happen is that there has to be a communication between them and, like, face-to-face interaction with other kids. And specifically among boys, the rough and tumble play is absolutely necessary in order to properly socialize. And if you replace that with a cell phone, they often eschew that that crucial social development between 13 and 16 and replace it with the cell phone.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think youth sports is very important for children.
Oh, sick. Yeah, base.
Whether it's team
Big time.
sports or martial.
Did your kid get into that?
Martial arts. Yeah, we put him in taekwondo at an early age.
That's great.
And I think that helped him out a lot, actually, with being social.
That's good. That's good.
And confidence. He has a lot more confidence than other kids his age that I've seen.
Well, I appreciate you. I really do. Sadly, the show must end. Right? And I'm over
Well, thank you for talking to me.
20 minutes past. But I appreciate you for calling in. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I really appreciate you very much. Thank you.
I will subscribe right as I get off the phone here. I will.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll see you on the next show.
Yep. All right, hold on. Let me D&D real quick before someone calls again. All right, hold on.
Oh man, it's being a big success with this phone line.
Well, everybody.
Holy moly.
Yeah, dude, the phone line, dude.
Yeah.
Top notch. So I want to say I appreciate y'all very much. I just made a new video, brand spanking new. Right, I literally released it today,
saw it.
and I spent like, I don't know, like 7 hours like maybe 6. I don't want to lie. I spent a long time on this 13-minute video. And it is the states can now ban trans healthcare. Thanks, Supreme Court. Okay. Check it out.
Court is
oh, shoot. I was about to play. Check it out because I worked really hard on it. And if you like it, consider subscribing. I'm a really small YouTuber. So, anyway, I'm going to end the stage. We're going to end the event and I will reconvene. I'll make a VC. I'll call it a First Amender, whatever. I don't know. First Amender's VC. Okay. I'll see you guys there.
Yep. See you, mate.